Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 233. We are back down in the basement after recording yesterday. So
2 days in a row, they ain't seen a work ethic that good.
that's crazy. So if you haven't checked it out, we actually got our best of 2024 out on New Year's Day, which is pretty crazy. So if you haven't seen it, is there. You should go check it out. It's Jack's favorite thing to probably do all year. He puts a lot of work into it. It is a very deep dive into all the things that FNS Wrestling loves from wrestling throughout 2024, so that's there for you.
And on the other side of the spectrum is coming soon.
Right, and worst of will be following up. I don't know when for sure. You're pretty much done, right? I've got a bunch of work to do on it, but so look for that coming out at some point as well. Today we're going to get to our usual stuff, which is NXT, AEW, WWE Raw, but we've also got to go back in time about a week and talk about AEW's World's End that we watched. World's End, as you say, when they put up the hashtag. I guess we can still say Happy New Year. I don't want to be one of those people that says it too far into.
Yeah.
Because this is technically, we're recording January 2nd, so I think we're clear. Publishing on January 4th.
Less so.
And I did say Happy New Year if you listen to the best.
It depends on, for me, it depends on how long in we are. Same with like Christmas.
Yeah.
And how long it's been since you've seen that particular person.
Agree.
I still don't like to after a while.
No, I don't either. And I don't need a January 12th Happy New Year. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm already in the thick of it, you know. I don't need to be reminded of anything.
Good to know that less than halfway through the month is the thick of it for you.
So what's happened since yesterday that we can talk about? I played pickleball.
That is something that happened.
And it was good because I thought it would be a weird time on a Thursday at 1 to 3. So I was like, I don't think anyone will be there. It'll probably be lame.
I was going to say people are off, but I guess most people aren't.
No, but a lot of the pickleball community are retired people. So
that's
it was
true.
full
so
of.
I guess it's like. That wouldn't matter. So what am I saying?
A lot of people that I play with all summer. So a lot of really good people were there. So that was fun. I don't know if I heard you, if you heard me telling your mom, but I tweaked my back.
Is that why? I just know you've been.
So yeah, you might hear me grunting and groaning. I apologize throughout this. It feels okay.
I knew there was something about that. I didn't know that it was new. I just assumed it was you being an old person.
Yeah. That is a good chance. But the cool thing is that so this back injury is like in my mid back on the left side. And my lower back on the right side's been killing me for quite a while, like starting to get me nervous.
Now it's even.
Starting to get me nervous, you know, when it really went and I slipped a disc and it touched a nerve and I was like out of commission for months.
Yeah.
Kind of felt like before that. So I was starting to get nervous, but whatever I did to my back on the other side, I don't feel anything on the lower right side anymore.
Oh, okay. So it just shifted.
It's shifted. And if this feels more like a pain that I will get through in a couple days rather than one that like stop me from standing up or lying flat.
You've only got a few days left, so
I know. So we'll see how I can recover from it. I feel okay as well. It's weird things like putting my head down really hurts. And then when we were watching Dynamite a little while ago and I was picking up my cup and trying to drink coffee, it hurt.
That's weird.
Don't ever get old, people. That's my advice.
Don't get old.
So you did some driving. That was super weird. You came and picked me up from pickleball.
Mom told me to.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, how the turntables, eh?
Yeah, and then we had to go to Staples.
And yes, I know that's not the right phrase, but we're office people in here. So if you don't get that reference.
If you don't get it, then get out.
Watch The Office.
Yeah.
Also a polarizing show, eh? Some people just hate it. My dad hates it. Your grandfather hates it. So, well, he doesn't hate it. He's just like, oh, I can't get into it.
And he's not that bright. He never did anything, you know?
And I'm enjoying the Australian one that I didn't know existed.
Nah, I'm good.
It's good.
Nah, I'm good.
It's good. But why wouldn't you just try it if I'm telling you it's good?
Because, one, you already started. That gives me an excuse. Two, I don't find time to get into new shows. And three, how dare you tread on the name?
It's my favorite thing. It's international 20-whatever-minute comedy shows are my wheelhouse.
Yeah, you're also more into that than I am.
I'll stick very little North American stuff, very little drama or anything else. It's all obscure comedies for me.
Yeah.
And I think I told you that, what's his face? The original Office guy.
Ricky Gervais.
There you go. I think he's somehow, his name's on it, whether he actually did anything or whether they just wanted his name on it to.
Or like you have to give him credit because it's his.
Or that.
Right.
Or like if we give him a producer credit and throw him some money, it's automatically going to get traction.
Credibility. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, I guess there's that.
I'm actually enjoying it. I'm like 6 episodes in. It's good.
Yeah.
It's definitely a similar vein to The American Office, but a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Anything new with you want to discuss?
Well, I was just looking at my pre-order for Osprey and Switchblade. Now it's like delayed another month.
Oh, life is hard.
Yeah, I need my Osprey.
Your privileged life, the worst thing is you have to wait too long for the collectibles you order.
Yeah.
That's your biggest
incredibly long, dude.
axe to grind in your life.
That's like a whole nother month.
That's not bad.
It's like less than 30 more days because it's a short month, but still.
You also drove me to Staples to get your mother a marker so she can number a book.
I tried. Yeah,
it's a fun gig she has.
What it was
writing numbers in a book that doesn't have page numbers.
That did not connect for me, but
not only a book, but a class set of books.
Yeah, so books, numerous.
And so when you're teaching that book and you're trying to give page numbers for assignments and questions,
integral to the experience so there.
I would just be like, I will find a new book, but your mother is built different.
One might argue it's integral to any book.
She also had your brother doing it for her for a while.
That's true. I'm gonna assume it was paid labor, but
he's just on his way back from, I don't even know what it's called.
Floor thing.
Yeah, where they put it's
it's the light up floor and you're avoiding and jumping things.
Different little games on the light up floor.
I've seen videos of it a bunch of times. I'd probably try it with my friends if they.
I think it sounds fun,
but I couldn't tell you for the life of me what it's called, and I've seen it multiple times.
I'd be more interested in that than like an escape room or whatever.
I'd do an escape room again.
But anyways,
I did it once before. It wasn't successful, but I did do it.
You did?
I was there. Yeah, it was like me, Hudson.
Oh, I forgot.
I think both Ryans at that time.
I forgot.
That was like a while ago. I think it was Hudson's birthday, like ages ago.
Well, yeah, because both Ryans haven't been around in a while.
Exactly.
Damn, son, that's some good banter by us.
Yeah.
If you're new, don't usually expect this because we usually struggle to talk about things because we kind of live together and talk to each other all the time. So
and they're kind of boring.
Right. I can't. But there are a few of our relatives and things that this is the only portion they listen to. So shout out to them.
Gotta throw them a bone.
Exactly, and try and talk about something interesting. But we got a lot of wrestling to get into, and I'm tired, and a bit sore. So we're gonna get into that now in our first segment every week, what we like to call cleverly news and rumors. So due to holiday type things, I do not have ratings, but you said you had something that would fill that spot for me. So go ahead.
So WWE is officially on Netflix.
Yes, we've been checking it out.
Is on there, which is
You've
not
already
official.
You've already watched Takeover
stuff. In your house. Yeah, nice. The main event, the infamous 5-way.
Yes, with your favorite Karrion Kross retaining.
So for our Canadian folks, this is what we have. I think it's everything, and I'll kind of pare it down as I go, but Raw, SmackDown, and NXT are obviously going to air live, I think, especially Raw because that's the big one. But I think for us, we'll get SmackDown and NXT live too. I think that's in the US
all international people are, yeah.
I think so, yeah. This is Canada or international.
Yeah.
And then an interesting thing is there's a Vault series for each of those shows. To be specific, Raw it's weird. They have 1993 like debut to 2001, and then 2022 to present. So you Ruthless Aggression fans are kind of screwed there.
Interesting. I wonder if it'll be there eventually.
And I guess for my era too.
Is there some reason it would be canceled? No, right?
No, because it's just regular stuff.
And Vince was there for all of it. So.
Yeah. SmackDown is debut to 2008, which would be 99 to 2008, and then again 2022 to present. It's weird. NXT I find to be the most interesting is because it was on the network for a while, right? But so it has every takeover or PLE from 2014 to 2021, and then every episode from 2022 to present, including obviously the PLEs, but every weekly episode is there too. So I find that one weird as well.
Yeah, the early weekly stuff is not there, right?
Yeah, which kind of sucks. And also, what I find interesting is because of that, you'd be missing like when they started doing the TV specials in 2020. None of those are there, like Great American Bash or Halloween Havoc, because they weren't like PLEs like they are now. They're not there. So
I think everything will be there eventually.
I think so. I think that's the idea. And then, so for all these PLEs, I'll mention some of them after. Interesting note. I thought they were like specific years because you'd see like a specific poster. Like they had the Australian Elimination Chamber this year with Rhea Ripley on the poster, or Battleground 2017 with the Punjabi prison match with Orton and Jinder on there.
Awesome.
Right? Or Hell in a Cell 2022 with Cody on there, the infamous torn pec match, right? But I just checked out SummerSlam out of curiosity. Each PLE has seasons, so every PLE is like you have every iteration of said event. Obviously, there's ones like Invasion, Rock Bottom, or like This Tuesday in Texas, or obviously Great Balls of Fire. That are one-offs, and so those are gonna have only. Obviously, they can't have.
But like Royal Rumble has season.
Yeah, so whatever. Yeah, exactly. We have all the major ones, and from what I can tell, they're not missing any.
That's cool.
So like the big five are there. You have like Money in the Bank as well. Elimination Chamber, Hell in a Cell. There's all the In Your House events, which I think is kind of cool. Some weird ones like breaking points a one-off, but like bragging rights. That was one they did. That was like Survivor Series, but not Survivor Series. All the WWF UK exclusive shows that they would do, like the ones that are always crap.
Yes.
And mean nothing. Those ones.
Barely canon ones.
Yeah, some of the Saudi shows, like all the Crown Jewel shows and then Greatest Royal Rumble.
Don't care.
But I couldn't find
Won't watch them.
Super Showdown. Like stuff like Bad Blood. In case we want to rewatch it again, they have an ECW pay-per-view. You want to guess which one it is?
December to Dismember.
That is the one.
Because it's the only one I could think of off the top of my head.
That is the only one they have.
Nice.
And then there's a lot of miscellaneous ones like New Year's Revolution. They have the fan vote ones like Cyber Sunday and Taboo Tuesday.
I remember
that
those.
Is the one.
And there was always a debate over whether they were actually honoring the fan votes.
That would be an interesting thing to know because I don't know. Because I know there were times where they would try to lead you towards a certain pick and then it wouldn't pan out. So that makes me think it was legit, but they would try to sway it at least.
Yeah, and I remember TNA because Nigel kept getting voted for things over there. The fans just kept wanting to see him wrestle, which was funny.
Yeah, and so like for these, there's a lot of things that I could watch. Like I was thinking about watching for Money in the Bank, Rollins versus Reigns again from 2016 or the Shield triple threat.
Yeah, of course.
But now I could watch like Canadian Stampede's an infamous show that I've never watched.
You are so much more likely to access the network stuff now, right?
Oh,
because
100%.
It's on Netflix.
And we were talking about this on the best of, but now we can actually do our NXT retrospective series since like it was not our fault. We did try to keep going, but
we did. The network was a absolute pain to deal with in Canada, maybe everywhere. I can only speak to Canada, but the only reason I kept it was because the pay-per-views, the value was still there.
It, but I don't think we do now because I've seen Royal Rumble is set to be there.
Mom already canceled it.
I think she said
if it exists
right?
still
on February 1st or 2nd or whatever it is. Rumble's scheduled to be on there, so we can just watch on Netflix. I was thinking like we live in an age now where we could watch AEW and WWE on streaming platforms that aren't like actually maybe Max is owned by them, but like on major streaming platforms. That's kind of crazy.
My fear is that the stuff on Netflix, we're not going to be able to skip commercials.
That's true.
I'm pretty sure that era will die.
But
because I record everything.
I guess we'll just have to pass the time somehow.
But like we can polish our notes, or you don't take notes. You don't watch Raw. It doesn't affect your life anyways. No. And I don't know if I will anymore either.
Maybe I'll check it out. I'll check out the first one with you, but
like this, because it's basically a pay-per-view.
I say we do that, and then we can kind of work from there.
And it was evident that they were putting all their eggs in next week's basket because Raw was pretty 100%. Sparse this week, man. Not
and
a lot
so
to say
we
about
could
it.
Resume our NXT period, and then like I don't know, we could start doing some random reviews if we feel like it. Like I think In Your House might be interesting to do.
People should recommend ones. It might get people to communicate with us. Tell us what you'd like us to talk about.
Shout out to Ghost Jam because I know he'll actually talk to us.
Yeah.
Like if he wants.
And Kevin,
you have power to make decisions here.
You are the two that we hear from regularly.
So hit us up. Like Ghost Jam, send me a DM again, and
clearly you want us to go back and do more Wrestling Society X, right?
You're right. That's not on Netflix, but
just a cocaine-fueled nightmare. That show.
I think it'd be interesting to do like In Your House or something. Cause that's something like those are the ones that you've seen. I've never seen any of them.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be interesting. I mean, hey, with your memory, maybe you've never seen them.
It would be like I'd never seen it.
Right? So you never know.
Yeah.
I think it would be funny to watch the UK exclusive because I've never seen. I know Tiger Ali sings on like half of them.
Canadian boy, big Canadian boy. How dare
why? It's so weird that he's like because he's not even British or anything, right?
They wanted to give him the $1 Million Man. Gimmick,
that's what I heard. He was
terrible.
Like Indian $1 Million Man, which I think is so weird.
And I would have been okay with it, but
yeah, you could always do that. Anyways, there's actually like a lot more on here than I thought, which is kind of cool. Because I was a little concerned when the news reports there was only going to be like some stuff, and I'm sure there's probably some stuff that's missing. Like obviously no WCW or real ECW stuff.
Chris Benoit, is he on there?
He has to be because if they have every Rumble or every Mania,
they can't. That'd be really hard.
You just
cut it out.
You can't. They just. Then what I know they did on the network is if you ever searched up a match with him,
I was gonna say
you can't ever search him by name,
maybe
but like,
not.
It would be Kurt Angle, for example, versus like I don't think they would ever write out his name there.
Redacted.
Yeah, right. So and then like Lesnar's gonna be there too, right? So because for example, both of them won Rumbles. I think back-to-back years. It was Lesnar then Benoit, and like Mania main events. So, anyways, there's a lot there. Obviously, for some retro fans, like if you want to watch random WCW, we can't do that yet.
I know, which is what I watch generally.
Hopefully it'll get there, because I mean, I'd like to do that. I would like to watch
WCW
some
was
prime
my
WCW,
fave.
and by prime WCW, I'm of course being
2000?
sarcastic.
99, 2000?
99, 2000. I want to watch, because I was just watching Cultaholic.
You're just like, why? Why can't a match just end normally? Why?
I just saw this guy on YouTube Shorts. Shout out to Tom Green. You would find it interesting. He has the series on
Tom
Shorts.
Green? Good Canadian boy?
I don't know.
No. Old
WCW.
Canadian.
He's got this series called WCW Deep Cut, and it's self-explanatory, but it was one where it was Jeremy Flynn, I think, was the martial arts guy, right?
Jerry Flynn?
Jerry Flynn.
How
sure.
dare you?
And he was doing like where he would wait in the basement to fight people, like Aleister Black, but in a basement.
Amazing.
Like there's that, and so he would talk about stuff like that. But anyways,
he was like a black belt or martial arts guy.
Cultaholic, shout out to them. They have like that worst shows
he's
ever.
65 now.
Worst shows ever series, and they did Starrcade '97, because that's the infamous one where Sting beat Hogan, but Hogan
doesn't work for him,
he
brother.
ruined it. Yeah, so I'd like to watch something like that.
Doesn't work for me, bro.
Or Bash at the Beach 2000, where that was Hogan's last match until WWE, I think. Anyways,
cool.
There's a lot to do.
Nice.
Especially on even NXT alone, there's a lot for me to catch up on.
There is. That's fun. It's a lot easier to access because the WWE app was terrible.
Yeah, I was saying to you, I'll start watching random wrestling. Highspots and Restholds may finally have a purpose
it's actually
for me.
like you watched this week and it was cool.
Because that's the thing. If it's not easy for me, I don't tend to do it.
Yeah, that's correct. Your generation. I'll boomer it right now. Your generation. If you can't do it in 10 seconds, you're not doing it.
Hey,
just
collisions of pain.
Your generation's lovely. Some lovely people of
Although
all
I will
ages
say,
and
I'm still not going to watch TNA.
No, even though it's easier too.
Tonight.
Speaking of TNA, so all the contracts we discussed weeks ago are now officially over, right?
I have that too.
So Bailey's gone, Kushida's gone. There was a name on there that I don't think I mentioned before, and it's the only reason I brought it up. Did you see? Not that it's a big name. Bhupinder Gujjar. Is also finished with TNA. I don't know where he would end up. I thought he was a good fit for them.
MLP.
And somebody that they could say he was homegrown kind of thing, right? But
yeah, I don't know. Maybe he'll just go indies.
Yeah.
And then I saw like Jordan Grace is expected to go to main roster after, but like it's one of those articles where I click on it, it's like, oh, it's not news. Okay, that's great. Or latest on rumors on John Cena's retirement tour. It's like Logan Paul pitched for a match, but they're not likely to do it.
Or like this happened on this show on TV.
Yeah,
okay,
like
cool.
World title win for Cena potentially. Yeah, I'm sure they do that because like with the record breaking thing, I don't want it to happen, but I'm not gonna be surprised at all if that happens. Hell, if he wins the Rumble, I wouldn't be surprised, and I'd consider picking it. But speaking of the Rumble, nailed it.
Nice. Look, we're 2 for 2 on segues.
Yeah.
I'll try.
Since you don't watch SmackDown, I figured I'd put in the news that Cody and Kevin Owens have a ladder match for Rumble. I guess because
that could be
belt and belt, and it is the trope of like I stole a belt, so I get a title match, but it's not the belt you usually use. So you still have your belt, but hey, you want the belt that's not the belt. It's like you want the belt that isn't actually the current belt. You gotta fight me for it.
Owens has the better belt.
But I did kind of I saw a bit of the segment where Aldis had like. It was basically because Owens is, they've been doing like the storyline where they kind of are posing him as like a rogue, right? Because he's been attacking Cody after the shows, after it goes off the air, and like he's been banned from buildings, doing the promo in his car, right?
A loose cannon.
Kind of like something like that, right? And so Aldis had this thing where like he's saying, you gotta show up and give me the belt back, or there's gonna be severe consequences. And Owens came in. I remember I saw the one bit where he just said. He was like, why would I give this back? It's my bargaining chip to getting my fair rematch where the ref can't screw me. Because remember, Owens got the Phantom pinfall at main event, right?
Right.
And so I thought, I was just like, that actually makes sense. Because they want the
Owens
classic belt back. And so Owens always makes sense. So I like that.
Speaking of people with belts, that's the best I can do. Did you see one of your favorites is over in Japan?
I had that as well, yeah.
So competing with Noah, who is it? It's your buddy.
Omos. Homo sapiens.
Who did he win? Jack Morris. I don't know who that is.
I don't pay attention to Noah.
I don't know who that is.
Or All Japan.
So they became GHC tag team champions, and he pinned Marufuji.
That's crazy. GHC, I think it's global heavyweight crown. It's like how New Japan does the IWGP. It's like the governing body type thing. And I thought it's interesting. He's the first to win an outside title contracted
first
under
WWE contracted wrestler that has ever been a champion in Noah.
Or I guess someone said it was outside, but then someone pointed out Taz, because remember he won the ECW title from a WCW guy while being in WWE. So technically he's not Omos isn't the first to do it outside
They're
WWE,
just saying
but the first
Noah.
in Japan.
Specifically Noah.
First
at
in
least.
Japan, at least. Because, like,
Well, I mean, it couldn't happen to a better wrestler.
I
Just an
guess.
absolute technician.
I mean, hey,
Danielson 2.0.
Khali had a career over there,
Oh my
I think,
God.
as Giant Singh. So they love their big
They
ass
do.
foreigners. So
And maybe they find
it
ways
might be
to,
a novelty for them.
Maybe they
find
find ways to like limit their
Hogan
terribleness.
was more of a workhorse in Japan.
That's true.
Never said he's a workhorse. More of a workhorse.
Correct.
And another one was like, remember Carl Anderson came back and he was still never openweight champion? Like that one was a little weird too.
Scott Norton was a beast in Japan.
Yeah, that's
Albert
true.
was a beast in Japan.
Giant Bernard, yeah. I think Tomko was there for a bit.
Probably. Rip.
Lesnar.
Rip Tomko.
Oh, you know who had a career in Japan who was kind of a novelty is Ludwig Borga.
Nice. He had
There's
a
a
cool
good pull
look,
for you.
actually.
Yeah, I guess.
It was just in an era where, like, if you're a foreigner, they don't know what to do with you other than you're an
You
evil
are that-
foreigner.
You are that country and you're evil.
That's right. Your identity is that country, and we hate you for it. It's basically it. Sorry, here. What do you have? I don't have a
that
few
is
others.
it, because I had the two that you were talking about.
Other things I have is Viva Van says she signed with AEW. She posted a video.
I know she's jobbed a few times. That's cool, I guess.
Posted a video of herself opening, I think it was a box they sent with an AEW t-shirt. And yeah, so I was sure, because I've seen her a bunch on the indies. She's fine, and maybe she's gotten a lot better.
She wrestles matches.
She's lost to Shida in AEW and Abaddon in ROH. I think that's it.
Wow, what a resume.
And a big re-signing with TNA is AJ Francis. Officially re-signed.
Unfortunately, not a resignation.
My note says, as someone who watches TNA less than ever, they can have him. And in a comment about the signing, he basically took credit for Joe Hendry's success since Francis interacted with him on his first night in TNA, and then the year following, he became a star. So I think it was in character, but still.
That has to be, because that's a ludicrous
He
statement.
can't even be that.
That'd be like saying he's responsible for TNA.
No one would say that.
No.
Although, as it turns out, maybe that was just the beginning of his heel run.
That might have been a stroke of genius. I don't know.
Right? And the last thing I had was Vikingo is injured.
I thought he was injured, but I guess he came back. I think I saw it too. There's some sunset flip spot with some other guy, and his leg twisted weird.
It was either a code red or sunset flip. The ref threw up the X, and then he had to be helped to the back. So hopefully he's okay, but maybe he needs a style change, because that style is going to destroy you eventually.
Yeah, I know Ospreay's kind of toned it down.
Yeah.
Or like, I remember...
That's why you need to improve the other facets, right? So that you can sort of slow that down a bit.
I know Ric Flair, he started as like a more brawly type or whatever, and then he was in that plane crash, and that's how he became like more technical style.
Yeah.
So even that as a kind of similar example.
Yep, so hopefully he recovers quickly, because he's pretty fun to watch.
He's cool. I haven't seen him in ages. I feel like we probably won't see him on AEW again unless he signs, because they used to do a lot more dealings with AAA, but now that they're so heavily involved with New Japan,
right?
And New Japan works with CMLL. Not AAA. Now it's like AAA is kind of screwed, which is weird, because even when Forbidden Door started, I think Vikingo still made an appearance or two, and like Omega.
Yeah, I think he did.
But Omega was AAA champion before Forbidden Door, so I don't know. It's kind of weird to me, but the chances of him being back aren't like, we never saw Taurus until he was signed, right?
Yep.
So stuff like that.
Bless him. He won an award on the best of. Go check him out.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into talking about wrestling specifically, and we have to go back in time a week to talk about AEW's pay-per-view offering called World's End. WWE, nope, AEW.
Wow.
World's End.
World's End.
World Send, as you would say, yes. So,
that's the thing now.
0 hour, only thing I noted was I watched Tony Storm, Layla Gray.
Woo.
And again, it was like Layla Gray getting a lot of offense and then Storm winning with an inside cradle. So
think about that, Layla Gray.
It's this idea that she's... Tony Storm's a rookie and just trying to win in whatever way she can and build a name for herself. So that was that.
So weird.
And then I don't remember what else was on 0 hour, do you?
There was that 8-man tag.
There was... Did I watch it?
You were making nachos, because I watched a bit.
I do make nachos a lot on pay-per-view night, so that's probably the case. So anyways, World's End proper. No one really cares what happened on 0 hour. I can't imagine.
I keep saying you can make pre-shows worthwhile, but no one ever listens.
And I told you I did watch a bunch of their talking heads just to see, because I was tinkering around with
and
stuff.
To prove we're fair, it's as much of a waste of time.
It's awful. And who came? Oh, I was surprised by Madison Rain showed up at one point.
Yeah, I'm
on the
just
panel.
glad she's not wrestling.
It was Menard and Renee. Renee's great, right?
Renee's awesome.
But and RJ City's fine. Menard I don't enjoy.
RJ City I enjoy sometimes.
And then they had Madison Rain. They had Briscoe on for a while. It was funny.
That's always good.
But anyways, so Guns N' Roses is the
again, yeah,
for a main event hype package, right?
They did November Rain last month. This one was Welcome to the Jungle, wasn't it?
And
great song.
It must have been technically still part of 0 Hour because that was even before like the FBI warning to make sure you paid for this came up.
But that was so cool. I love that song.
So the show opens with the C2 semifinal. It's Ospreay and Fletcher. You were thrilled to get this match right away.
Yeah, because last time I hated waiting for it.
Yes.
So to not wait for it is nice.
And you were at work, so got home just after 9. And despite that, you had not been spoiled on anything. And
I do avoid it for AEW.
That's what I wrote.
Especially when there's a match I know I want to like experience. Like when Ospreay Fletcher was coming around the first time, like that has to be experienced.
He says for a show like this he'll do it, but not for a regular WWE PLE.
No, fair. For those I will gladly welcome the spoilers, so then I don't have to watch it.
Can you get ready for Over Under Accurate?
Oh right, good.
If it's available. So it is Ospreay and Fletcher, coming off of Fletcher beating Ospreay not too long ago.
Clean as a whistle.
So they start out fast. Surprise, surprise. Lots of rope running. No one can really get an advantage. Each avoid a signature from the other. Fletcher escapes to the floor. As the crowd is already hot for this, they know they're going to get something great. So they're chanting for Ospreay early on here. Ospreay clotheslines Fletcher to the floor, follows up with some sort of crazy flipping cannonball dive off the apron. Ospreay avoids getting hit by the steps, goes for a Hurricane Rana, gets caught and powerbombed on the apron. Fletcher's now on the barricade posing and mocking the fans. And then you can explain this. Fans really prepared for sign rippage. It was great.
Yeah, Fletcher ripped a sign that said Ospreay's better, and then they had a sign that said Ospreay's still better.
They had a backup sign.
That's pretty awesome.
Good stuff. Ospreay's now bloody, right? I guess it happened outside on the floor.
Yeah, he got darted into the barricade, I think.
And the crowd is all over Fletcher at this point. There's blood on Fletcher's white boots, I think it was.
Yeah, because he has the white kick pads
and it looks
again.
Great.
And yeah, because Ospreay is bleeding buckets.
And then he needs to lick the blood, obviously, as they tend to do in
Ospreay's
AEW.
Done that, so he's just following Ospreay.
Fletcher catches Ospreay flipping, lawn darts him into the corner. Great sell by Ospreay. Desperation clothesline turns Fletcher inside out, shifts the momentum to Ospreay. We get the standing sky twister, and I just have a note. He's so bloody at this point. Like he kind of ruined other people trying to bleed later.
Yeah. Like his face is so unbelievably red. Like
Crimson Mask is the right
100%. I'd say it's even worse than Drew McIntyre and Hell in a Cell because it was in the same vein, but I think it was arguably bloodier.
Crazy. Snap half and half by Fletcher, standing Spanish fly from Ospreay. You have to explain this because you said it in the moment. All I wrote was call back to kick stuff, but Ospreay is ready. Was it a spot where Fletcher did some kicks in the previous match? I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think they were going back and forth a lot. And there's
there you go.
Okay. So because there's a spot in the first match where they're chopping each other, right?
Yeah.
And he's welcoming it, and so in the first match, Ospreay's like got his hands behind his back,
and then he
chopped
kicks him.
Fletcher super kicks him. This time Ospreay caught it.
Got you.
That's what it was.
So that leads to an Os cutter for a near fall. Ospreay counters something into a poison Rana, but Fletcher comes back with an immediate hidden blade. This is where they go to a bird's eye view of the ring, and you can just see blood spattered all over the ring.
All Ospreay. Like,
yeah.
Fletcher gets blood on his face later, I think, when they do the headbutt spot, and it's just, however bloody Fletcher is, it's because of Ospreay.
It's only one guy bleeding.
Fletcher does not bleed.
Then we do get, as you're saying, the all four headbutts.
Like Junkyard Dog style.
Then they to their feet. Diving headbutt is countered with a kick by Ospreay.
That was kind of sweet, yeah, because they're going back and forth the headbutts. Fletcher gets overzealous and goes for like a jumping headbutt, and Ospreay kicks him in the face real good.
Fletcher pulls the ref in the way. 2 crazy kicks and a brainbuster for a 2 count. Pretty nuts looking last ride for another 2 count.
Yeah, he does
right
a sit last ride. He does it really well.
Running kick to the back of Ospreay's head, 1 to the front. Ospreay powers up, counters a brainbuster into a Hurricane Rana. Fletcher rolls through, Ospreay counters, and it just hits a Styles Clash for the win.
That was surprising. I didn't love that, but it's okay.
Got just over 16 minutes. Yeah, the finish was a little surprising.
There's only one match that beat out 20 minutes.
Yeah, and that was Monet.
It was.
And Statlander.
And I'll talk about it later, but the main event being 16 minutes, like under 16, is really weird to me.
So this one was 16 minutes as well. I thought an excellent match.
The C2 matches, I get it, but the other ones being short, I was like, NXT?
Right. Satisfying opener, I thought. They got things going pretty quickly. It got a lot done. I think the story here that I picked up on, and I quite liked it, was that Fletcher, at first, is cocky and overconfident because he just beat Ospreay clean, right?
Mhm.
So he's dominating to start the match, and he's making lots of taunts and talking to the fans and stuff. Then once
Because he thinks he has it in the bag again.
then once he realizes Ospreay's fighting back, he now has to cut out the nonsense and even cheat if he has to, or do whatever he can to win, right?
Yeah.
And then Ospreay, through that crazy crimson mask he was wearing, was just better on the night. So
Yeah, and I think there was also, like I was saying with the callback, some instances where he also learned from his mistakes in the last match, right?
Yes.
There were a couple callbacks. I think there was the one really fast back and forth sequence that was really reminiscent of one in the first match.
yeah,
And so I think it was also Ospreay bettering himself a bit.
Ospreay
Maybe it's just
seems to go to callbacks a lot.
yeah, which
I
I
think
like.
he's just a thoughtful dude. I agree.
Yeah, I like the thought into it, even though it's only a month back.
And sometimes, honestly, I don't even catch them. But once you tell me or somebody else, then I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and I like that in the Switchblade hang match too. 'Cause remember the shin breaker on the ramp?
Yes.
There's a callback to that, like stuff like that.
So
right?
I thought obviously this wasn't as good as their first match,
but
'cause
I knew it wasn't gonna be.
that
though.
was maybe somebody's match of the year.
That was the best match.
But
of the year.
I thought this was still awesome.
It delivered on my expectations because I didn't expect it to be as good as the first one, but
Mhm.
it was still fantastic. I think these two are dynamite pairing, pun intended, I guess. And I don't think they're capable of having a bad match
No.
against each other. And what I liked after was Ospreay was taunting like, now it's 1-1. So
Yes.
all that and the package on Dynamite all but confirms to me we're heading to
We
a
are.
third match. And with a show in Australia on the horizon,
Yeah.
I think we have an unbelievable opportunity to make an even bigger star out of Fletcher and give him like a really cool hometown win. And AEW would do that. WWE would deprive us of that.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited for that to happen because I think it's mid-February and I think it has to happen.
And this match also provided an awesome story for later because, much like Nathan Fraser, right now Ospreay has to face another person, and he just bled like a mad person.
He got his face
for
beaten,
20 minutes. So it's creating a nice story for the match coming up later as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Over under accurate?
No Meltzer, but it's an 8.91 for cage match.
I actually went under. I went 4 1/4.
Hmm.
Still awesome.
I would agree with that because I think I gave 4 3/4 to the other
the
one.
first
So
one.
I'll go 4 1/4 because this one was definitely not as good, but still amazing because I
Awesome.
love these two dudes.
Better than anything on a WWE PLE that
Easily.
you've seen in forever, in my
Easily.
opinion. Then we get Ricochet Okada hype video. Again, I won't recap them. There's just little bits in between each match. This one was people giving their thoughts and praise for both men involved in this match. So it is the second semifinal for the C2. It's Ricochet challenging Okada here. Okada, of course, is the current Continental Champion, right? Defending, won the tournament. He's trying to become, as they're going to try and say, like,
the greatest tournament wrestler.
because they're basically like really quickly equating the C2 with G1.
It's not much different.
It's a lot different.
No, it's not.
It's so much shorter, I feel like.
Well,
There's not night after night after night of
I
like
guess.
a million matches.
But isn't there because there's more people? So
Well,
I guess
yeah.
it's similar but smaller, but also not smaller because I think it's over the same period of time, just with less people.
Yeah, fewer people, fewer matches. That's all.
Plus, how dare you discount the C2? It's legendary.
I just
greatest
enjoy how
tournament wrestler.
they've done it twice, and it's like, yep, it's on par with with the G1.
I just like how vague major tournament victories is.
Mhm.
Like, say round robin or something to quantify it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to define it. Because major tournament.
Major tournament in WWE is 4 people.
Right. Or ROH did that too.
Made the semis.
Well, so like, does major tournament, does that exclude then their own Owen Hart Cup, right?
Not-
Or
I
the
don't
King of
think-
the Ring?
I don't think that's major.
Or I don't think so either, but I'm just saying, shouldn't they consider it to be,
I
right?
guess.
So like, I feel like they should say round robin terms because those are
Bigger.
bigger and harder for
Yes.
sure, but then that at least define us then we know. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like define if your cup can change by DQ or not.
Right. You should know that going in,
Yes.
probably. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
So Okada grabs Ricochet's ear in the corner early on in
And
this.
again, Ricochet's like he's grabbing my hair.
Right,
Just-
trying to say he's pulling his hair. Ricochet with a head scissor takedown and a drop kick, but as he prepares for a dive, Okada runs him over with a boot. Okada runs the ropes in all directions just to slap a seated Ricochet on the head, remember?
That's really funny.
Ricochet takes control by pulling Okada's legs into the ropes. He follows up with a dive to the floor. The crowd is singing about Ricochet's baldness at this point.
Yeah, wasn't it like the na 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 na?
Yeah, you're
But
bald.
it's like, hey,
You're bald.
hey, you're bald.
I told you, I think he does a good job of looking like he is annoyed, but
like
trying
he's
to
affected,
hide
but
that
he's trying to hide it.
like,
Yeah,
no, I'm
absolutely.
fine. Like, I
Like
think
he's like
doing
really
that well.
sensitive, but he's trying to look tough.
Right. Ricochet taunts Okada, who eventually fires up and hits a flapjack, not a flatliner, as it gets
They've
called.
called it that multiple
twice,
times now.
at
I'm like,
least.
What are you like? What are we doing?
Back elbows and a DDT by Okada for 2. Good sell by Ricochet there. Ricochet back suplex, springboard suplex, and a standing shooting star story for 2. Okada catches Ricochet with his neck breaker thing.
The airy crash neck breaker.
Yes, that's what it is. Elbow off the top, Okada middle finger, but Ricochet counters.
It's funny because Ricochet's the heel, so Okada's doing his usual shtick, but he's getting cheered for
Yes.
it, which I think is kind of funny.
Because he's entertaining. More count, and they want to hate Ricochet right
Obviously.
now too. More counters by both. Eventual beautiful dropkick by Okada. Ricochet counters and hits Vertigo for a near fall. Top rope shooting star for a near fall. Kicks and knees from Ricochet. Another dropkick from Okada. Both are down. Spirit guns countered with a power slam. Rainmaker, and it's over. I actually didn't get how long.
Destroying my whole pick in one fell swoop.
How long was that match? Do you have the time there?
Just 5 seconds short of 13 minutes.
So pretty quick. Ricochet.
It is a C2 match, so those ones I understand at least.
Yeah.
It's just I wish some of the other matches were a little longer then.
Ricochet is sitting in the ring dejectedly, and then a roll of toilet paper gets thrown in, and then Swerve's music hits. He strolls out with a microphone. He accuses Ricochet of talking a lot of mess lately, and Swerve is here to clean up the mess. Nana comes out with a wagon full of toilet paper. They hand it out to the front row, and then he sort of Swerve counts it down, and they all throw the toilet paper.
A lot of it lands perfectly on him. It was
and they
sick.
timed it really well. I thought like people aren't going to cooperate, and they're going to start throwing it as soon as you hand it to them. But you could hear Nana saying, "Wait for the signal," as he was handing it to people. And then Swerve just says, "Happy New Year, Trevor," which I thought was good, right? Like they really
funny,
humiliated him.
And I've seen people taking this shot and talking about how like Ricochet went here thinking he'd be treated better than he was in WWE. I'm like,
he is.
This is 100%. Like it's really weird
already
to say,
is.
but the whole toilet paper thing is infinitely better than his treatment in WWE, where he was either like minimally used or he was forgotten.
And it was just like he's incredible athletic guy, and then that's it.
Well, even then they didn't even use him as that. I feel like they had a lot of potential to use him as like even a cruiserweight. They didn't use him, utilize him in that
They're
aspect.
always looking for the next Mysterio.
Yeah, he could be that, just not Latino, which is maybe part of but like he could still be their next high flying sensation if they really wanted him to be, and they never tapped into that.
He's doing more now than he was.
I agree.
There.
I think he's infinitely better. This is the most I've liked him or being interested in him.
Yes,
so
he's doing great.
I thought this was a great little bit to kind of further the story.
I thought this was a really good match. I don't think it really ascended to quite amazing levels, but it does help establish Ricochet as a heel.
Yeah.
Okada is a master of tournaments. Ricochet looked good. His interactions and heel mannerisms, I thought, are just so refreshing at this point.
Yeah.
It's like I'm watching a different guy almost. And then seeing Okada more regularly has really made me appreciate him a lot more. We talk about it all the time. He seems like he has this ability to let other people shine while hitting his stuff, all while looking cool. Like he doesn't do a ton. We say it all the time, but he makes room for the other guy to do their thing. And what he does do is just really good. So
he's just really good.
I thought this was a strong match.
Yeah, I liked it. And I was just thinking about how short the show is. I wish they had added that All-Star tag again. We could have had like Mordos and a bunch of people on the show.
Yeah.
That would have been kind of cool. But regardless, I still thought this was really good. And Ricochet continues to impress.
What if they took all the other people from the round robins and put them in a multi-person
That's what they
match?
did last year.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They should have done that again. Like you could have had.
I guess some of them were occupied though.
Yeah,
Fletcher,
but
Ospreay.
I'm saying you could have done all the people not in the finals then. Like you could do Mordos. Just put Mordos on the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Just have him wrestle, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But anyways, this was good. Ricochet. It was kind of weird doing a heel thing, and that should have done Ricochet disservice. But I think the crowd, they kind of knew which side to pick still, because even though he's a heel, Okada's likable, and Ricochet is like he's been getting such heat lately. They had to jump on it, so that was great. Okada's entertaining. He hit his stuff, like you said. Ricochet looked good. I like the post-match angle too.
Me too.
That's furthering a feud I'm actually kind of interested in. It was one I was like, I don't really care. Ricochet's promos suck, but I'd like the match. Now it's like it's kind of coming into its own, I feel like.
Yeah, and people are gonna like. We'll talk about it on Dynamite too, but like he really, really Ricochet. I'm talking about did get punked out twice on national TV or whatever, but it's his origin story.
It is, and I think that's really
cool.
cool.
His actions on Dynamite this week, like justified's the wrong word, but you understand he had to react. You can see
how he's been pushed to this point.
Right.
Yeah. It's like it almost mirrors Hangman a bit, right? Like the House Invasion was his origin story.
Yeah.
Except where I would say he's a lot more justified in being mad.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the same vein. I could see I can envision a segment where him and Ricochet start getting along because, Swerve is the catalyst in either scenario, right?
That's right.
Whereas
the enemy of your enemy.
Right. Whereas one is like kind of teasing Ricochet and making fun of him because he's being, like I don't know what overconfident ass, like, or he's running to his mouth too much, right?
Yeah.
And the other is invading a man's house, for no reason. He's still the catalyst either way.
And heels can conflate those two things, even though they shouldn't be.
Yeah, exactly. This one got a 7.08 for a cage match.
I actually went higher. I went 3 3/4, which would put me at 7.5.
It was good. Like, especially if this was on TV, I'd really
it was quick,
it.
But again, the tournament ones are
it's
faster.
The time limit, right? And I think that's all right.
Yep.
Again, I wish the rest of the show kind of made up for these shorter matches, but I guess it's a shorter AEW pay-per-view, so I guess it's okay.
Yep. Renee then talks to Will Ospreay, and then I said, maybe let the man continue getting medical attention, because he's
the doctor goes away
medical,
and he's got dried blood all over his head. Like, it's crazy looking.
So he's doing a babyface thing. He needs the fans to carry him through this next match, and
but he's so good at doing the babyface thing, though.
Really good, passionate promo.
It's just, whereas I feel like in a lot of cases, him asking for the fans' support and whatever, that could feel really forced, but with him, it just feels organic. Like, he needs the adrenaline boost to, like,
and he's doing it while covered in blood, which is a nice visual.
It just, I don't know, something about him always feels organic to me. He's so great. Watch the best of.
We then get a Mariah May Thunder Rosa hype video, and Rosa's dad's involved, right? Because he'd play a role in the match as well.
Yeah, a little bit.
And so I guess they're trying to add some story to this, which I said, I guess this is better than women hold signs in crowds to be annoying, because that's the story right now, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, it is Thunder Rosa, Mariah May in what's the stipulation?
2 on a street fight.
There you go. It's a street fight. So Rosa jumps onto May as May is looking at the sign held by Rosa's dad at ringside. I don't remember what it said, but there was something.
Osprey's still better.
Maybe. Sliding clothesline and a senton as Rosa is in control early. Rosa gets gets chairs, and we're reminded she did bring a chain with her.
She brought pinata too.
Throws a garbage can in as well. May tries to leave, Rosa follows. May DDT on the stage for 2. May finds a bottle of tequila, spits it in Rosa's face. Rosa suddenly spears May through a plywood art piece or something
May
that
just
was
stood there too. She took a step, spit in her face, and she walked over in front of the thing and just started laughing. And and then she just
literally a plywood thing for a 2 count.
Yeah.
Rosa mugs for the camera for a second, and she gets a trash can booted into her when she turns around. May follows Rosa back to ringside. Rosa cracks her with a bottle to the head for 2. It's a decent looking spot, actually. May slammed face first onto a chair, choked with a chair. May headbutts turn the tide, running knee for 2. Rosa airplane spin into a Death Valley driver for 2. Pinata of tacks, that's what was in it.
Right.
Mayday on the tacks perfectly, right? She ended up right in the middle of those tacks for a 2 count. May takes, I like this part. She goes out to ringside, grabs Rosa's father's hat and cane, right? Which I thought was just a great heel move.
The cane was the nice part, yeah.
We get barbed wire is on May's knee. She misses, hits the steps, allowing Rosa to take control again. We get some cane shots from Rosa as she's got control of her dad's cane now. Rosa sets up a table on the floor like a ramp. She runs up it and hits a shotgun dropkick. I thought that was okay.
That's a spot I've seen her do in a bunch of matches. Like, she had the one with Deonna Purrazzo.
Right.
So it's a repeat spot for her, for sure.
She chokes Mariah May with the chain.
That's usually a match ender. Like,
and it
that
looked
kind of
good.
Spot, yeah.
May didn't have her hand tucked underneath or anything. It actually looked like Rosa was choking her. Rosa's talking to the ref. May throws powder in Rosa's face. Now, I heard Rosa brought a bag of dirt from the graves of something.
That's what it was. Yeah.
I don't know if it was explained very well,
but
so it comes back to haunt her as it gets thrown in her face. Then we get a really well executed spot to finish. It's a Storm Zero off the apron through a table.
Yeah, and this was Falls Count Anywhere was the stipulation.
So May wins, retains only 13 minutes, eh?
Yeah, a lot of these are a lot shorter than I thought they were.
I thought this was fine to good with some cool spots.
Not great, not horrible.
Some of the stretches where Rosa was in control, I thought things dragged a little bit, and I was hoping for more violence and a faster pace.
Yeah, I agree.
May's heel work, really good as always, but I felt like Rosa got the majority of this, and that's not likely to impress me that much.
No, because I think we've soured on her for a while.
But she did some cool things, to be fair. I thought the choking looked good, the finish looked good. I didn't enjoy it as much as some of the women's extreme matches, and there's been lesser wrestlers in extreme matches that I've loved,
which is crazy.
So it was pretty good. I think the right person won, obviously. And
Of
again,
course.
they nailed the finishing spot.
Yeah.
So
I think there were a few good spots that they really nailed, and then the rest of it was like solid.
agree.
Like the big hits were big. But then other than that, like it was just okay.
Right.
From May, I expect better. From Rosa, I expect worse.
It's a few spots moved it just above average for me.
Yeah, I agree.
So what was over under accurate?
Over and under accurate is 6.3.
I'm pretty much accurate. I went 3.25, which would put me at 6.5.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
So I thought, like, to me, average is like 3-ish, 2.753.
Yeah, it's just above average.
Just
I'd say,
above
yeah.
that, right? Then we get a recap revision I put of the MJF Cole
Yeah.
story. Really short. I would say it's a glossing over of things at best.
Certain parts, yeah.
Right? So anyway.
I was pointing out to you on Dynamite. Roddy comes out to their theme, and the theme for Undisputed Kingdom, that group literally says "The Devil Rising." That's
Right.
the title of the theme.
We're not supposed to remember that.
You can hear it. Like, it's crazy.
So it is Cole MJF for the Dynamite Diamond Ring, and hopefully, whatever God you believe in, willing, the end of this feud that has been.
Yeah. I mean, based on MJF's promo, it seems to be.
It's gonna come up on worst of the year.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Sorry. Taven and Bennett are in Cole's corner, guarding the ring. Actually, the Dynamite ring
was the thing that Cole said would happen.
Which again, we all assumed things were gonna happen here.
Which was so uneventful, surprisingly.
Really was. We get a Cole super kick on the floor right away, runs MJF into the barricade. MJF pulls Cole into the ring steps to buy himself some time. MJF curses at the crowd and the words cut. This is my note. Sorry, I'm making sense. I'm laughing at myself here. MJF curses at the crowd and the words cut Cole, so he's bleeding now. Because remember, Cole's bleeding and we didn't know why.
Oh, yeah.
So I just attributed it to MJF's harsh words. They actually cut him. Posing and taunting, but Cole fights back until MJF pulls his hair and bites his head. Commentary working really hard to put MJF over as a scumbag, right? Like, I felt overcompensating for the fact
I mean, he is
that,
typically, to be fair, but
I
in
felt
this
like
context,
they're trying real hard.
Yeah.
Lengthy chin lock by MJF for some reason. Cole gets
Hey,
caught.
don't knock a good chin lock, all right?
Cole gets caught and power bombed onto MJF's knee. Cole super
That's
kick.
always really good.
I love Josh Alexander's is the best, but they're all good. Cole super kick, pump kick, backstabber, sushi garoshi for 2. Shout out to Poison Rana. Nice sequence there. Cole off the ropes and tweaks an ankle. They're just going to keep going to that. Immediate chop block by MJF because he's evil. Cole's leg gives out in the corner. MJF rams it into the ring post a few times. MJF poses to a mixed reaction because people cheer him still a little bit, right?
Well, I mean, this story.
Camera goes to Taven and Bennett, then back to MJF, who's bleeding now. Don't know. Missed both the bleeding in this. Corner battle, Panama Sunrise, last shot for 2. MJF collapses before a second boom. Sorry, not just last shot, right? You didn't correct me.
Boom's lame. Well, I don't like calling it the boom, so I wouldn't.
Me either. Counters a third by diving at Cole's knee, which I thought was a nice touch. Super kick by Cole, but his leg gives out, and again, MJF applies a figure 4. Cole rolls it over, and the pressure is reversed. We were talking about how, like, that is up there with hardest part of the ring.
Yeah, hardest part of the ring.
It gets a chance to be said less, but I think it's said a higher percentage of the time it presents itself.
Absolutely. And
the pressure is reversed.
You don't have to be pinned or submitted.
Right.
To lose your title.
Sudden death.
And that, I was going to say, that one's also up for debate. Because I think they mentioned it like 10 times in every match. So that one might be the most, like, that might be even a higher percentage than, or like 150%. They say it more times than necessary.
They need to. MJF takes a step attack and gets the minions thrown out, and the crowd loves it.
He does like an Eddie Guerrero kind of thing.
Right. Oh, that's right. MJF grabs the ring. I get confused between ring and diamond ring, like wrestling ring. The diamond ring, while the ref is distracted.
I was like, why are you confused? And I was like, okay.
MJF walks into a super kick. Cole puts on the ring, but MJF lands a low blow and delivers a heat seeker, and it's over. And I think this one was, 14 minutes is what I have. After the match, MJF grabs a chair and puts it on Cole's ankle. Roddy Strong runs out to make the save. Kyle O'Reilly comes up behind MJF.
Total elimination to MJF.
Right. Total elimination to MJF. Undisputed Era are back together, or whatever they're called.
They're Undisputed Era.
And ring shot to MJF. They drop the ring on the fallen MJF's chest because it is his, and I guess he gets to keep it, and then they celebrate.
I think they celebrated because they forgot Taven and Bennett are in the group, too.
Right. I thought this was a good match. Never got into the extra gear.
It sucks because I think last year, or not last year, but 2023, they had 2 far better matches. Like they had the one, obviously the All In main event was really fantastic. But even I remember their match before they became friends. Remember they had the eliminator and went to a time limit draw. And MJF declined the 5 minutes. Even that match I thought was really good.
That was better than this.
Yeah, because that was I think longer than this too. Because
Yeah.
I think the time limit was 30, right?
Yeah.
So that one was even longer.
The finish I thought was a bit underwhelming. The ref was being distracted for a long time.
The fact that we didn't get the heel turn. Like I would have liked the heel turn from the Kingdom,
Right.
and then Kyle O'Reilly comes up to make the save.
Now.
And then you can have Undisputed Era facing the Kingdom can go back to ROH.
or released or whatever. So
I'm going to be nice and say they can go to ROH.
I think the ref was distracted and missed like 3 consecutive cheating attempts near the end of this. I also wasn't really, we were sold like the hate and intensity and whatever. I didn't feel
like a blood match, which it should have been, regardless of the miscast dynamic. It should still be a blood feud.
Right. Both of these guys are really good in the ring, so I don't know. I think this was a bit underwhelming.
I would argue the Roddy match might have been better.
I don't disagree. Over under accurate?
Over under accurate, 5.45 from them.
Wow, that's harsh. I went over. I went 3.25, so a bit above average again. Like on par with the match before this, I thought.
I say that's fair. Yeah, I was gonna go lower, but then I was like, it's not that bad. So I guess I'll go 3.25.
Like better than average, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, like I just, it's hard to articulate because I don't have any like strong feelings on it.
I know it was, and that's too bad.
Yeah.
But also just that the way they switched the storyline and stuff just made it very unappealing to us.
Just be happy it's over.
So we get a summary of upcoming TV matches of varying interest. I said Jack may remember details. I don't know.
Probably no, because they wouldn't have confirmed the trios match yet, because that's after the main event.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I don't remember.
Hobbs Takeshita package, repetitive formula, but the show moves fast, right? It's like, here's a quick package.
It's all it's supposed to be, though.
Yeah.
Like, it might be simple, but that's what it's supposed to be to me. Not all this.
If you're not watching the weekly show, here's what's going on. Now here's the match.
Not all the over-the-top melodrama and ads shoved in your face.
Right.
3 ads to 1 match.
Right. Plus all the stuff in the ring and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it's Hobbs and Takeshita for the International Championship, with Takeshita defending as you clutch his figure there. We get a forearm exchange to start. Shoulder tackle standoff until Hobbs launches Takeshita with one. Takeshita repeatedly slammed on the apron. Eye gouge to Hobbs, fireman's carry, and Takeshita drops Hobbs' knee first on the apron. And then he sort of like, because it looked like maybe it wasn't on purpose, but then he's like...
It was definitely intentional.
And then he's like tapping his head like, yeah, I'm smart.
I thought it was cool.
Yep. Takeshita targets Hobbs' legs now, taunts the crowd. Tony tells Dawn that no one loves him at one point, which we thought was funny.
Yeah, I was like...
Tony's hatred for him is great.
It's like when MJF's there, too.
Yeah.
But it was like something along the lines of... Callis was talking about, I think it was the people in Orlando don't love him or something like that.
Yeah.
It was either that or Canada. But I think it was, he was saying certain people don't love him. I think it was Orlando because that's where they were. And then, yeah, Siobhan, it's just very blunt. Nobody likes it. It was really funny.
Outside in suplex by Takeshita. Hobbs with a running crossbody out of desperation. He takes control with dozens of corner clotheslines and a power slam for 2. Takeshita counters a power slam into a bastard driver for 2. Club and clothesline exchange. And some are really high and vicious, like up around the head.
I think it was the one by Takeshita that was high, right?
Yes. Takeshita German suplex. Power drive knee is blocked. Elbow strike by Takeshita. Very sudden power slam by Hobbs. Hobbs with a crazy running clothesline that we watched a couple times.
Yeah, he smacked him with it.
Absolutely ran him over. Takeshita avoids a spine buster. Chop block, blue thunder bomb, but Hobbs kicks out at 1 and he slams Takeshita to the mat for a 2 count. Hobbs goes up top. There's a bit of a corner botch there, and Callis tells us that Hobbs' knee is gone. Take 2, so they go to whatever they were going to do in the corner. Remember, the crowd was chanting, please be careful.
Yeah.
It ends up being a Takeshita superplex they were going for, a big huge senton, and then he goes for the power drive knee, but it's countered into a big spine buster for a great near fall. You were even a little nervous. I made a note there. It was a very well orchestrated near fall.
I agree.
Up top again, avalanche power slam by Hobbs. After some jockeying, Hobbs takes his knee brace off, which I thought I was smart and was like, oh, Callis is going to run down. It's going to be a hit him with his own knee brace. But no. Takeshita kicks Hobbs' knee, lands high knee and applies a guillotine. Lands a high knee, I guess. Applies a guillotine. And then we get a huge raging fire for the win after only 15 minutes. Is that? Yeah.
It was something like that. It was 15:34.
I thought particularly the second half of this was
started out slow,
pretty
but
awesome.
It ended up getting a lot better than I thought it was.
And I thought
it was going to be.
Hobbs looked great. To nitpick, the 2 times he climbed the ropes were a bit clunky, but
But he's also not supposed to
I
do
don't
that
know
a
why
lot.
he's doing that. And it would fit into, his character of like, he's doing it because he feels he has to do everything to beat Takeshita, and he probably shouldn't.
And his knee's not 100%, so he has a
Right.
bit of a kayfabe cover there.
I agree, bit slow to start, but once this got into gear, I was highly
Good
entertained.
hoss fight, yeah.
The crowd was into it. Just a couple of huge guys, right, delivering a really good physical match.
And
I
it had
thought.
been a while since he hasn't really been on Diamond or anything, so I was hoping Takeshita was still chilling, and my boy's still good.
I thought Takeshita looked good, but I
This
really
was
liked
better than the
Hobbs in
Ricochet
this too.
match. The remember from Full Gear.
Yeah.
That one wasn't really that interesting.
I agree.
For Takeshita match, because I remember that was the last match I saw him in. So just him being gone for a month, like even though it's dumb, I was like, just hoping he still got it. And so
This
yeah,
was like
this was really good.
technical Haas fight. It was good.
Yeah. Or a meat fight, I guess AEW fans refer to it.
Over under accurate?
7.28 for them.
I guess I'm slightly over. I went 3 3/4, so that'd be 7.5. I thought it was not quite 4-star. If the beginning had been as hot as the second half, I would have
agree.
been.
Yeah, if it was more okay, so that's fair. I'll agree with that.
All right. We then get Monet versus Chris Statlander for the TBS Championship. These two had a great match at Full Gear. Seemed to have good chemistry together. So again, if they had just thrown a story,
if the storyline was there, it's women's feud of the year, and it would be in the feud of the year.
But there is no other than like Statlander's #1 contender because
I don't even know she is.
Right. But anyways, they're evenly matched early on until Statlander's sent to the floor. We get a sliding drop kick by Monet. Meteora into the barricade or whatever, double knees. It's whatever it's the crutch of Monet.
It was only
that
like
she
3
uses
this match,
nonstop.
I think.
That's
which is crazy.
She's learning. Stat catches Monet jumping off the barricade, carries her up the steps and slams her on the apron. Delayed vertical countered by Monet. Statlander power slam. She picks Monet up and hits a backbreaker. Picks her up again for a follow-away slam. Statlander's a beast, man.
Statlander's beast.
Both up top, Monet slips through and hits a powerbomb onto the apron. Meteora in the corner. Stat gets Irish whipped, but she comes out with a clothesline and a back elbow before Monet hits a backstabber. Straight jacket submission applied by Monet. Statlander powers out until Monet takes her down by the hair. Another Meteora attempt is caught by Statlander and turned into a powerbomb. Was that one where she was coming off the ropes? I can't remember. I think she caught her and like switched grips and
yeah,
something beastly. Wrist control clotheslines, a running uppercut, running boot, and a rolling German suplex by Statlander for 2. Another sequence where I'm just like, she's really cool. Spinning Michinoku driver by Statlander for 2. Monet tornado DDT. 6 or 7 amigos by Monet. I forget.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Frog splash by Monet for 2. Counters and a package pile driver by Statlander for 2.
That was surprising.
Forearm exchange, they roll to the floor and pull off the ring skirt. I don't know why that was notable, but I wrote it down. Monet
like they straight up ripped it off.
Monet maker on the floor. Monet traps Statlander's boot in the frame of the ring. I guess maybe that's why they pulled it off.
I think it was intentional because it was weirdly straight up ripped it off.
So she puts her foot in and gets it stomped, and then a Meteora off the apron. Statlander takes off her boot to be able to beat the count and get back in the ring. Very close to being counted out there. Statlander catches Monet, F5s her on the apron, then hits another one in the ring for a near fall. Monet sit out tombstone on the apron. That looked
nasty.
Crazy.
That was nasty.
Crowd goes silent because it's like, did she just kill this woman?
I saw someone post as like another example of AEW being unsafe.
Right. And this is the one where she barely beat the count. Well, WWE's back to pile drivers too, you know.
Yeah.
Monet crossface, then STF. Statlander gets to the ropes and Monet is screaming at Stat like, just give up, right? I thought that was cool. Monet slap fires up Statlander. She hits a big clothesline. Monet counters Statlander's finisher into an ankle lock with the foot with no boot on it. Dueling near falls, Monet eventually gets one to stick and retains her championship after 24 minutes. Monet leaves with the belt, and the crowd gives Statlander a really nice ovation, right?
Which is weird.
Monet left the ring for her to have that moment, which was cool. I thought, like, another very good match between these two. If chemistry is a thing, then these guys have it, right?
Yeah, just, again, no story.
Statlander is so impressive and is just so different from the rest of the division.
She's an interesting character away from being, like, so great.
Amazing. If these matches had a stronger story, with us learning something about Statlander along the way, could be even better, right?
Yeah, like I love Statlander. I just like that's why I keep talking about it, because I love watching her matches, and like these two especially. Then the Willow one was my favorite women's match of the year.
Right.
Well, go look at that.
I noticed Statlander's all over our best matches.
Yeah, like she's really good. I like her a lot, and that's why it pisses me off that she doesn't ever get character something substantial to do. Like I said, the partnership with Stokely should have been her thing.
Yes.
But they went back on it for some reason, and that's why it annoys me. Because she's so good in the ring, and again, it's like Ricochet. Now that he's figuring out his character, he's so great.
Yeah.
Like if Statlander, I'm not even saying she's bad at promos. It's just if she figured out what her thing is and who her character is supposed to be, then I think she could be so great. Because I really like her in the ring, and she's a beast. Like she's awesome. She could be like that power speed hybrid, kind of like Takesha.
Yes,
she could kind
she
of be a
is.
female Takesha.
She very much is.
Right, and that's
a very
the
good
highest
comparison.
compliment.
It
Obviously. So, and like I like her a lot. So I hope she finally figures out a character this year, because I would love for her to be the main champion. Hell, if she figures out a character, I'd say she's a lock to beat May. But they need to figure out her package.
It's funny because when we're watching AEW Dynamite this week, one of my comments is about like, May is such a strong champion that they're really gonna have to do something to make
So I'm saying
it believable.
If Statlander just like honestly
someone
kind of
beats
like
her.
the journey Fletcher went on this past year. If she just figures out the rest of her shtick, because the in-ring stuff's no concern to me.
I feel like they should have had her cutting promos on like Rampage every week.
Absolutely.
Treat it as your developmental.
They should start doing that. Yeah, I remember she came back on Rampage when she stitched the alien thing. Like, she just needs something, and then she's all sex. I really like her, and these matches prove how good she is.
And I've been really hard on Monet at times
But
this
she
year.
still delivers
She's starting to deliver in
matches,
the ring
regularly,
right?
Yeah.
So, over under accurate on this?
Over under accurate is 8.54.
So I'm under. That 8.54. Wow, that's wild. That's like a 4 1/4. I went 3 3/4. If you said 4, I wouldn't begrudge you.
I don't remember what I gave the last one. I was probably like around a 4.
I've heard some people like it better than the first one. I don't know.
I don't know. I'll go to 4.
Okay.
I thought it was really good.
I think that's fair. Me too.
And again, Statlander is great. They're both great in the ring. It's just to varying degrees that outside of the ring is different.
Yeah. Now we move on to what I thought was pretty easily the match of the night. It is the C2 final between the two guys who already won once tonight, and that's
I'm pretty sure were they a G1 final? I think before too. I want to say
Ospreay and Okada. Ospreay obviously coming with his head all taped up because he bled like crazy in the first one. Still got dried blood all over him too. The crowd is giving these two an ovation right away because this is something everybody wants to see. Okada cheap shot along the ropes early on. Ospreay with a really snappy Hurricane Rana early. Ospreay is selling being a little bit unsteady from all the blood loss in the first match, which makes sense. DDT to Ospreay on the floor as Okada targets the injured head also makes sense. Draping DDT to Ospreay from apron to floor, another DDT back in the ring. So a lot of just Okada, just simple things targeting the guy's head.
It's basic, but he's being smart about
Right.
it. It was kind of like how, obviously Fletcher's less basic, but he went after the neck in their match, right? So Okada's just targeting the injury.
And they use the word efficient for Okada, and I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Right? He's going to do maximum damage with minimal effort from himself. Strike exchange leads to an Okada neckbreaker. Bandages then fall off Ospreay's head, and Okada wipes his face with the bandages, right? Okada
I think it was still stuck to Ospreay's head at one point just because of the dried blood. It was just stuck to his face.
Fused on there. Ospreay counters another DDT with a sudden suplex to finally stop Okada's onslaught. Handspring kick, flying elbow for 2, flapjack by Okada. Ospreay drop kicked off the top to the floor after briefly catching his leg in the ropes. It looked kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
Okada follows up and targets the knee now, right? He's got another.
Yeah, Ospreay did a good job of selling that.
He did.
Legit,
Like I was like, ooh, that could be
kind of like when Fatu botched in the War Games and you just turned it into a cell real quick. Right?
Believable. Tombstone escaped. Ospreay runs Okada into the barricade and hits an Os Cutter on the floor. Okada barely beats the 10 count. Another Os Cutter in the ring for 2. Okada hits his air raid neckbreaker thing and the elbow drop. Okada with a boot and a shotgun drop kick. Knees up on a standing sky twister. Another drop kick from Okada. Ospreay counters into a Styles Clash for 2. That won him the first match, so that was a good near fall there.
That's true.
Spinning power slam? Question mark. I didn't know what else to call it. And a rainmaker.
Yeah, because that's how he beat Ricochet, right? Remember, it was like that. It's a spinning power slam. Yeah. That's that.
Rainmaker for 2, so kicking out of a pretty protected finisher. Repeated strikes to Ospreay, and he collapses. Okada German suplex. Rainmaker countered into a Spanish fly.
That was awesome.
Hidden Blade met with a drop kick, but Ospreay can't keep up. Ospreay Rainmaker, Stormbreaker for a near fall. This is where I start to struggle to keep up with things. Tiger Driver countered by Okada into a clothesline. He keeps hold of Ospreay's wrist. A crazy sequence I can't possibly describe. And a second Rainmaker for the
I just
win.
remember the ending sequence being like insane. Where
Crazy.
after he hit the last Rainmaker, I was just like, wow.
There was 2 sequences in the last few minutes that I was just
The
like, damn.
last couple minutes are pretty nuts.
So this went 19 minutes. Daniels,
It came down to the wire for the time limit for
Christopher
sure.
Daniels comes out to congratulate Okada,
This was a cool surprise.
and he said like he is no longer an EVP, but this man is. It's Kenny Omega in a suit. He gets a great reaction, stares at Okada from afar, but then he has to head to the ring because as the EVP, he is the one, I guess, to hand the title over to Okada. They stare at each other. Okada raises the title. Omega, as you can see him keeping his eye on Okada as he leaves the ring. So I thought that was a nice touch.
I thought Okada was going to attack him or something.
Me too. I thought something was happening, but awesome match. The pace in the final few minutes was crazy.
Yeah, honestly, I think there's a better match in there if they didn't have the time limit, but within the constraints of the tournament rules, I thought this was as good as it gets.
I love this. Yeah, the drama that was created near the end and the crowd response was amazing with all the counters and the near falls and stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts.
Okada getting a clean win is huge, cements him as the king of tournaments, while Ospreay continues to have the story of he's losing a bit right now, so he can't focus on Death Riders or whatever, right? Because he's not winning as much as he should.
And now I think he's probably going to focus on Fletcher again, which is the hope.
And Ospreay was severely weakened and put up a hell of a fight, so I don't think he loses anything here. Fantastic match to close out a pretty great tournament. Brought us a ton of good TV.
I'd say even better than last year's, which was a good start, but I thought this year they really amped it up.
And by the end of this match, I was really into it.
Yeah, I really liked it. It found its footing by the end, and it was, like I said, the final few minutes were hectic, but it was solid throughout. They told a solid story with Ospreay being heavily damaged already, more so than Okada.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, they're two of the best. They're familiar with each other. I think the record's like 8-2 in favor of Okada.
Yeah.
So they know what they're doing, and this was fantastic. Like, it's a final that makes all the sense in the world.
And then Omega showing up is a really simple way to rekindle that feud. And my God,
and build some hype for him to come back, because he's coming back next week.
And you're putting together one hell of a program for a secondary title.
That's true.
Right? Okada Omega for your second, third, whatever title it is.
Yeah.
So I thought terrific. Over under accurate?
9.37. People loved it.
I'm a little under. I went 4.5. So that's 9.
I will agree. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was great. I thought match of the show for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. The only thing left is the main event. So there was a recap package there, but we kind of skipped it, I think. I don't even think we watched that one, which is rare for us, but we know what's going on. It's Cassidy versus Hangman versus White versus Moxley for the AEW Championship.
Jay White and all white looking
First
slick.
note, Jack, a fan of White's gear.
He brought back, I think he wore it at Wrestle Kingdom once, but the all white is always beautiful. Can't fault it.
I agree.
It's like Rollins.
We are told that Marina Shafir wears the key to the briefcase around her neck.
I thought
I thought they were introducing because it was going to come back into play. And then remember, there's some issue with the case and a shackle in the corner.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal with that was.
I don't know what was going on there, but it took them a while to figure it out. Anyways, they team up on Moxley on the floor early. Yuta and Claudio show up to drag Mox out. Crowd brawling. Moxley works over Cassidy before bringing him back to the ring. Security take the other Death Riders away.
No Pac again. I was saying to you, it's weird how much he's missing in proceedings.
Maybe that's something they're going to use later. I don't know.
I doubt it.
Mocking kicks, then real ones to Cassidy, who rolls out of the ring. Orange punch to Mox as the others hold him. Shield bomb to Mox through the announce table. Hangman turns on the others, and he and White end up in the ring. Hangman follow-away slam to Cassidy in the corner. Patriarchy watching from way up in a box. Hook is shown watching Cage from the stands, which I thought was funny. He's watching Cage watch the match sort of thing.
That was kind of funny.
Hangman with boots for White and Cassidy on the floor. Runs Cassidy into the steps, then White into the barricade. Cassidy with a stun dog to Page, but White counters him into a cutthroat suplex. Mox cutter to Cassidy. Mox is bleeding from the back of his head now, which I don't know if that was the plan. It's an odd place to bleed from. Mox and Hangman battle for a bit. Big move parade ends with a Cassidy DDT to Moxley. Finisher parade ending with an orange punch to Mox, even though it's the worst finisher in the world right now.
Apparently.
Buckshot to Cassidy and one for White. Deadeye to Mox. Yuta back to grab Hangman's foot, and Mox gets a chair from Shafir. Hangman hits a buckshot to Mox, but the ref is still out from Hangman pulling him out of the ring. Sudden Blade Runner to Hangman. Then Moxley and Yuta then to Moxley as well, and Yuta takes out the ref. Blade Runner to Shafir.
That was cool, because he's like, She's coming from behind, and it was like when he hesitated a few weeks back on Dynamite, so this time he actually hit her with the Blade Runner. That got a pop for me. I thought that was a cool
It
spot,
was.
and good for Shafir for taking that.
Yep.
And that's like, I remember you complaining about that with TNA way back, but like at
They
least
wouldn't
there's
do it.
some right. They would never
Yeah.
do that, or they do it out the one move, and it is just the one move here. But I think it's still cool,
And
it's
she's a heater, so
Yeah.
it's not like she's the dainty valet.
no, she's been beating up dudes for like
Right.
months now.
So it works. Yuta hits a Psycho knee to White. Mox Death Rider. Claudio shoves the ref back in, and it's over less than 16 minutes. Death Riders are about to kill Jay White, but FTR show up. Lights out, and as I predicted, Edge is back. Christian does not look happy. FTR clear the ring. Mox and Edge are face to face. Edge spears Mox and breaks a chair
Edge talks about Mox's pubes.
to be able to pull off a crossface with the bar that he tends to do.
He's done that to every Shield member now.
A mic finally works because the first one didn't, right? And Edge says that rated FTR are taking it all.
No, I'm okay.
So this match, I don't know, man. It was
good, but for me, I felt underwhelmed.
felt more like a Dynamite main event than a pay-per-view.
I agree. Like, it wasn't a bad match by any means. It just, I was expecting more. And, again, this should have had, 10 more minutes on it.
It was slow at times, chaotic at other times. Lots of moving parts, as you would expect with Death Riders there. And
Right,
getting
I
thrown
thought
out
the
and
parts
coming
where
back.
everyone was kind of in and going back and forth, those are really good. We just should have had more of that. And it should have gone longer.
Again, I don't think it was bad. I was expecting better. It felt short, and they packed a couple of sequences of signatures and finishers in the middle of a decent four-way match, right? Crowd brawling, I don't love. Lots of interference, not my favorite. This had both of those. I thought it was a good match, not the pay-per-view quality main event, and tough following Okada
Yeah,
and Ospreay.
it was a little disappointing for me for sure.
Yeah.
I will say, if anything, I thought White looked the best, and they made him look like, because he got the Phantom pinfall on
He
Moxley,
did.
right?
Yes,
So, which I think is setting him up for the title shot at Maximum Carnage.
and he's got beef with Yuta.
And he's got beef with Yuta now, right? So I hope, if anything, for me at least, it feels like they're making White a legit contender, and at least the one that is going to stick out, as Cassie and Hangman seem to drift off into other stuff. Or Switchblade is at least still a legitimate contender, and he has, kind of like Kevin Owens, a claim to getting a rightful shot. So I like that at least. And overall, it was a good match. It just fell short of what I think it should have been.
Over under accurate?
6.05.
I'm above that. I'm over. I went 3.5.
I agree. I really wanted
I've seen some people really down on it.
Which I can understand, and for someone who expected a lot from this, because I love all four of these guys, I was definitely hoping for a 4-star match at least.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still good. It's just not the two matches preceding it were better.
I agree. So overall, a good show. Okada Ospreay was my match of the night pretty easily. Ospreay's the MVP with two great matches on the same show. Main event felt more like a Dynamite main event. I thought Monet Statlander delivered. I thought Takeshita Hobbs delivered too. So I went through math. I did my average on this. I went with math, and math told me it was a B. And I think with AEW's pretty high standards, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Right?
I would agree with that. It was at least definitely a step up from last year, because last year's World's End felt like a real downer. I remember there only being 3 matches we really liked.
Yeah.
This one was better, because I think all the tournament matches were good. Obviously, Ospreay Okada being the highlight, but the opener was really strong. I even think Okada Ricochet was really cool. The Street Fight and the Ring match were not bad, but just not the best.
Right. Nothing was bad.
Takeshita Hobbs over-delivered. The TBS title match was great, and the main event was good, but fell short of what it should have been for sure.
Yep.
So I agree with the B. AEW pay-per-views are definitely ranked on a higher curve. By no means this is a bad show, and it's not a waste of your time at all, especially with how short the matches were for once.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a waste of time.
No.
It's just when you have a show like All Out that we talked about, that one is fantastic. Or even Full Gear the month before, I thought there's a lot more.
Because they get a lot of A's and A- from us.
Right.
So below average, but still a very good show, I thought. Yeah. All right, so let's continue on our AEW journey and take a look at this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. Talk to me about Dynamite that we just watched a couple hours, so it should be fresh in my memory.
Remember,
I will.
We kick off with a Moxley promo, which is taking place after World's End. Mox says they all talk about who they are and what they're going to do, but when things get real, they aren't who they say they are, and it's often very different. He talks about Shafir taking a bullet, referring to the Blade Runner from White. and because she's a woman of integrity and iron will, because she stands with him and he accepts nothing less. He asks what you would take a bullet for, and he talks about carrying the company on his back and dragging it to safety through the pandemic and taking bullet after bullet for the company. He says he'll set it on fire and he would rather destroy the title before anyone gets their greedy, soulless hands on it ever again. And he says he knows what Copeland is about, or should I say Cope?
Please don't.
Yeah. And he says they are not rebels because nobody has authority over them. He is the king, and tonight Copeland is just the loudest guy in the room.
Yes. So Moxley sounds good for sure, but I don't know if anything he says matters. And I'm kind of the opinion now, I don't think this is a main event champion of the company gimmick. I think it's fine in the body of the show somewhere, but it's supposed to be the big story in this company, and I just find myself less invested as time goes on. He just generically complains about everyone. A new group steps up, they dispatch them, and we repeat, and he still talks about. So I don't know who he's talking about, what specifically their problem is. It just now feels like well-delivered generic stuff that I don't know. Just call somebody out specifically, please.
Yeah.
And lay out your problems with
call
them,
out
please.
White since he's the one lined
Whatever it is. Just, I don't know, man. I just think like this is fine, but it can't be the big linchpin of your company right now.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to realize it pretty soon and either pull the plug on it or get it something different going, because I don't think a lot of people are into this. I know you are more than most, but I just feel like it's not, they're asking too much of this gimmick as it stands now, I guess.
I did like that he was talking about sacrificing, giving an actual example of him sacrificing compared to other people not doing that, because he was obviously champion through the whole, or most of the pandemic, I guess. It depends on how long you define the pandemic of being.
I don't know.
Because he lost the title like the end of 2020. We were still wearing masks after
We
that.
were.
But I don't know. Anyways, I did at least like he actually had evidence of something, which is something you're complaining about. And
Yes.
so at least there was something there. I didn't care about him talking to Copeland because, I mean, if you want to say the storyline for you, that's not the way to go.
Like, give me like, hey, this person, you could have done this, but you've been doing this instead, and you won't do this. Instead of like, nobody does anything and everybody sucks, and I'm just gonna beat every little group that steps like.
Yeah. I did love Shafir taking the Blade Runner though.
Yeah.
Which we already talked about. Then we get Rated FTR cutting a promo. Dax says they'll go Death Riders to fight of their lives. Cash talks about them fighting for North Carolina. Copeland says Death Riders wanted to try and take out his friends, and at World's End, he saw fear in Mox's eyes because he knows Copeland's sicker than him, and it's gonna be fun tonight. Like Copeland for me, he has good energy, but more like Moxley, but less good. It's like it's just his typical jargon, and it's whatever to me. Like he always has good intensity, but some of the things he says, I'm just like, it's just not working.
That's
for me.
your WWE is showing. It feels like
probably
right.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he mentioned it, so I was saying, I wonder how many times they'll mention the HBO Max thing, which I don't think they really did. So
I don't think they did.
I thought they would a lot, and I'll talk about it later. But I think there's some pun potential.
Yeah. Okay.
With a certain individual.
Okay. We'll talk about it. I was snarky, so I just said like, so a group that haven't been around in forever will save the company from the Death Riders, I guess. Cool.
Yeah, that's like
basically.
I was saying to you, I hope it's like a one and done, because
yeah, me too.
I like Death Riders, love them or hate them. Like they need to fight a better group than these guys, or like FTR. That's fine because they
didn't win even.
They didn't even win. Yeah. Well, I guess Jay White did get in there.
Yeah.
But FTR, it's fine. It's more so maybe not old guy.
Yeah, I guess.
Anyways, we got our first match of the year, which is Orange Cassidy and Hangman Adam Page. It blows my mind that it's a first time match, given how long they've both been around. But that's a great match to start the year for them.
And I thought a smart choice in the sense that you're squarely repositioning Page as a heel, since it's been sort of.
And it's like if you get some new viewers on Max, these are two of your cornerstone guys.
Yeah. And the crowd loves Cassidy, so if you want to remind us that Page is a dastardly heel, then this is a
which
good
I think
guy
they
to do
kind
it.
of did here.
Yes, I think so.
Both men attempted finishes early on, nothing connects, and it's kind of like a standoff. Hangman's been hitting a belly lately, and he always does it really well. He hit it again for 2 here. It just like it's the straightforward belly, not like the overhead. Just it's really quality. Springboard Larry from Hangman knocks Cassie off the apron. Fallaway slam into the turnbuckles from Hangman for 2. I noticed Cassie kind of rotates in the air, so he kind of like touches his feet on the mat before he hits the corner. But that's a dangerous spot to do, so I can kind of respect doing it safely. But it still looks kind of good.
Yeah, it did. I thought
like I
it was
can
different.
tell he's taking it safely, but not to the point where I'm like, oh, you wussed out. You know what I mean? Like it's just I noticed it, but I was just like, at least it's because the turnbuckle spots are iffy, right? Like that killed Sting for half a decade, right? So
Yes.
at least
Didn't it kill
no.
Rollins too? Or
No,
he killed Balor with
but
it?
that was on the barricade.
Yeah.
Same difference
Yeah.
though. Running PK from Cassie, then he attempts to tilt roll DDT. Hangman blocks it, but Cassie comes out with a stun dog. Fall slam on the floor from Hangman in the entranceway. And I was saying to you because when I was watching the Takeover match, I remember in the pandemic takeovers when they did in the CWC, they had the ramp level at the ring. I was saying like in the smaller venues they could do it again with AEW. 'Cause they used to do it for some shows, and I like it because it adds a different playing
Yeah.
field. I mean, granted, last time I remember them doing it, a man's ankle died,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe that's why they haven't done it. And fair play to them.
And it ate what's her face too. So
Yeah, also
it's
ate Allie.
dangerous.
That's true. But I always like it 'cause it adds a different playing field, and it's just cool to me 'cause like WWE never does it
Mhm.
anymore. So it's just I always like it, but it's a small thing. Hangman lines up for the buckshot. Cassie flops on the mat and slowly rolls out of the ring to prevent it. Happens again, but then Cassie's like waving at him, which I love because like that could easily be a heel thing, but in this context, it's good. It's Cassie's shtick, and he's
It
like
was funny.
pissing off the already
Yes.
insane heel.
He's effectively avoiding stuff, but also irritating.
Yeah, right. And that reminds me of when he had the match with Ospreay to Cassie, and they were putting over how his lazy shtick is really getting to
Mhm.
Ospreay, the heel at the time. And so I always like that because that's a cool way to apply Cassidy's character and make it useful instead of it just being kind of this goofy shtick. It's
Yeah.
like mind games
Yep.
in addition to maybe being the way he likes to be. You know what I mean? It can kind of serve both.
For sure.
Hangman caught Cassie out of a crossbody, like just straight up, so some good power game from him. But Cassie countered out into a DDT, then the tilt-a-whirl DDT connects for 2. Cassie counters a buckshot and hits a beach break for 2. Then the finish comes when he hits 2 orange punches to knock Hangman to the apron.
Useless.
Hangman boots him away. Third orange punch, Hangman eats it for lunch and then hits a buckshot for the win. Then Hangman continues to beat him up after 2 dead eyes. Officials and Christopher Daniels come out to stop him. Hangman beats up Christopher Daniels and leaves.
Yeah, I think this match was a lot of it was about Cassidy avoiding and countering the buckshot, and I think that worked pretty well because it makes Paige's finisher seem dangerous, right?
Which is opposite.
But at the same time, the orange punch is like useless.
Yeah, I'll talk about it.
basically. This is the right result. I think Paige needs a win here, and Orange Cassidy doesn't really ever almost need wins.
Unless he's defending
And
his
I like
title
him.
every week. Like,
Yeah, I thought this was a good match to start the show. Yeah, I'll
Mhm.
leave that there for now.
I've done that before too, where it's like I think I'm more the same. I'm just like, no, I'm good.
I do have more written, but I think I'll wait because I think it'll play off something you're going to
Okay,
say probably.
all right. I thought a great match to start us off. I love Hangman. He's one of my favorites for a reason. The slow power heel game he's kind of perfected as his character's progressed, and it works off of resilient babyface Cassidy. Typical quality action. I think it's again a solid match, a good choice to start off the year. Right?
Yes.
Again, it's for us like people like us. We've been watching the whole time. It's
Nerds.
the nerds. Oh, he's Gallows.
Yeah, that's right.
It's 2 originals that we all love,
Yeah.
and it's just like comfortable style. And like I said, if there's new people checking it out on Max, this is a taste of what you can get from AEW. It's quality stuff, and these are 2 people who represent AEW really well, right?
And Cassidy is intriguing for people because he's different,
I
right?
think
like,
so.
who's this guy slow rolling and
Right, hands in
lazy
his pockets.
kicking
He
and
still
yeah.
did that, right?
Yep.
I just didn't love the finish because it highlights how overplayed and weak the orange punches become.
Yes.
It's one thing if Hangman powers through one off of adrenaline or something, because Ospreay's done that with like in the match with Takeshita,
Yeah, but he ate
and that's
3.
fine. And he does that really well. Ospreay, like, he'll do like the power up, and then he goes down after 2, right? But Hangman took 3 here, and he still came back to hit the buckshot, and he was fine after. Most of the time when people complain about no selling in EW, I laugh it off because they're just like dumb. Like I said with Ospreay. I remember people complaining about that in the Ospreay Takeshita match so much, but it's clear it's like adrenaline. They're still selling, and it's not an issue for me.
And there's been recent WWE matches, multiple, where
That's also happening.
where I've been like, listen, if you complain about AEW,
Or,
you have to complain.
I love
about
him,
this
but
too.
Jacob Fatu is straight up no selling
Yes.
stuff, right? I love
But
him.
we love it. Yeah.
I love him, but you have to call out both sides.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's my point here is considering both Mox and Hangman have now taken numerous orange punches. Like remember the full gear match?
Yes.
I made a joke out of it so much to you because it's so funny to me. Because they always do the DraftKings ads, right? And it's like, who's going to win the main event? Who's going to hit their finisher first? Bet orange punch every time.
Because he needs 1,000 of them.
You
so
will
the first
never
one's meaningless.
lose.
Yeah.
Like, you'll never... I think literally in the full gear match, it was either the full gear match, I think it was, or the 4-way. The first move was an orange punch. But back to the point. Considering Mox and Hangman have now taken numerous orange punches and remain pretty much fine, it's concerning to me. And if I'm gonna laugh at Cody hitting the crossroads 3 million times to Solo Sikoa, you have to call both sides, right?
Yeah.
So I have to say the same for the orange punch. That nitpick aside, I still think it's a really good opener, and Hangman gets some momentum back for whatever he has coming next. Hopefully, not a feud with Fallen Angel.
Yeah, did you mention that part where he
Yeah, I
came
did.
down? So I don't like Daniels being involved. I'm glad that Paige took him out, unless this is a program.
Yeah,
You
that's what
sort
I'm
of
saying. I
mentioned
don't
it.
want that.
If it leads to a Paige Daniels match, then I got problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless it's like, I guess it'll just be a vehicle for Paige to murder him.
Okay, if it's like a one-off Dynamite squash, that's fine. It doesn't need to be a whole pay-per-view
No,
drawn out program.
God, no.
It depends how they play that. I would prefer they just don't,
Right.
because I don't need to know.
No.
But
And
yeah.
I don't like it's out of the blue. Daniels is something like, I've known you forever. Well, like this feels very random to me. Like you're just needed. Like they worked backwards from like, okay, we want you guys to have a program. Okay, well, I've known him for 20 years.
It's
Okay,
like,
cool.
we traveled up and down the road together.
And you've watched him do psychotic things, and now you have a problem.
Or it's like you're this evil witch, and it's like, oh, hey, you're a cheerleader.
It's weird. But anyways.
Then we get a Jay White promo.
Right.
He says he's not starting the year off how he planned. He has planned to become champion. Nearly worked, but Yuta ruined it and cost him his moment. He says he'll show Yuta over and over how that makes him feel. But he still has the path to Moxley with the Casino Gauntlet match.
Mhm.
And next week, he will walk along that path. But first, he has to walk through 2 former champions tonight. He says it doesn't matter what you're the Messiah of or whose house it is, you will breathe with the Switchblade.
Yeah, I think
I love him so much.
he's appropriately upset with Yuta. Seeking revenge makes
He's
sense
so
there.
good.
And I like that this otherwise random triple threat has some stakes attached to it, and that he's still focused on Moxley, and that he points out he should have won the 4-way, but he still has a path to Mox, so that's what he's doing. I thought this was really good.
I
was
love
quick.
his promos so much. Again, I don't understand how you could not like him. Like
I enjoy him.
I don't understand how polarizing he is in some circles, because he's just so good to me. Like everything he says here makes sense. He has rightful anger and intensity. I like the references he made in the last line, like Messiah the Backbreaker and the Who's House thing. Like he referenced their things. He just has such a good flow to it. The way he speaks, I find to be unique
It is.
to other people, and he's just a star.
I think that's uniqueness bugs some people.
Right.
They're wrong, but they have that
are
right.
You have a right to be wrong. He's a star, I think, and I don't understand how it's up for debate. If I'm AEW, he's winning the 3-way tonight. He's winning the damn gauntlet next week. Like he can lose to Mox, that's fine, but I know he deserves a one-on-one shot at least. Like he'll lose because he's not Darby, but I'm confident he should be next in line to beat Darby,
Mm-hmm.
and that's fine. I'm okay with waiting. But yeah, I think White's fantastic, and he does have a claim to a shot, right? Because he got the Phantom Pin,
Yep.
and he got screwed out of the match. So, yeah, I just really love his promos. I think he's fantastic. I also giggled a little at Maximum Carnage.
Nice.
It's kind of like big
Carnage.
business. It doesn't.
No.
It's just, why can't we bring back Quake by the Lake?
It sounds like an AI generated.
Yeah, right.
thing.
Or it's like, it was like when they were starting to do the pay-per-views and they had Double or Nothing and all these gambling references, and then Full Gear is kind of weird, but then it's like Revolution is so generic.
Yes.
Right? So Maximum Carnage kind of feels like that to me. It's not, I don't know.
Sounds like a character. My name is Max Carnage.
Yeah, right? Like it's your creator wrestler from
Yes.
the WWE games 10 years ago.
Right.
Right. But anyways, I love Switchblade so much. He's fantastic. Then we get the Acclaim taking on the Hurt Syndicate. There was a brief promo before. It was basically just more dissension. So I think
Caster was funny because he's like, "You're bringing this up now when we're doing an interview?" Like,
yeah, that was kind of funny. I think the gist of it was Caster accidentally hit him with the ROH belt.
Yeah,
when
and he wanted
Bowens
to. Yes, Bowens was confronting him.
was facing Jericho.
Was it on purpose or not? And Caster's kind of like, "You waited till now?" Like,
which I think is a really cool way of dodging the question.
And then
That
Caster was
pretty
like,
funny.
"Yo, I'm taking this seriously because I'm not even gonna rap tonight," which he didn't.
Oh, okay. So I missed that because I was
Yeah.
like, why is there no rap?
No, he said he's taking things seriously
I
today.
guess that's interesting.
Mhm.
Lashley was 100% using tights from WWE just based on the logos. I
Right.
could tell it was just the reuse there.
And MVP's on commentary for this as
MVP
well.
is on commentary. Lashley decimates Caster with shoulder blocks in the corner before clotheslining him out of the ring. Bowens gets on a flurry, but Caster makes a blind tag, which they kind of missed that
botched,
spot
yeah.
because Caster's on the wrong side of the corner. So Bowens was running the ropes, and then he grabbed onto like because he was supposed to
It was like
get the blind tag.
awkward,
And then
yeah.
it was weird, but then I was like, oh, okay, I see.
And just before that, when Caster was getting beaten up on the floor by, I think, Shelton,
Bowens is kind of just standing
and
there.
commentary point out that Bowens is doing nothing because it's right, almost not quite at Bowens' feet, but on that same side of the ring,
Maybe he's just abiding by the rules.
and he did nothing. Now I'm starting to wonder, is Bowens the one going heel?
No,
It's
because
weird.
Caster's being an ass.
He is.
Fans ask for a fourth German. Oh wait, sorry, Caster made a blind tag. They argue. Caster gets chucked around by some German suplexes from Shelton. The fans are asking for a fourth, and Shelton obliges, which was
Yeah.
kind of funny. Then the step up knee in the corner was vicious. Lashes is back in. He hits the spear to Caster, thrust spine buster, and the Hurt Lock submits him while Bowens he's standing at ringside watching.
Yeah, Bowens dropped down from the apron and just stood there and refused to take part in anything. I kind of like this because
I did.
I think it was smart because it allows the Hurt Syndicate to keep looking dominant, right?
As furthering a story they're
as
telling.
a bonus, you're furthering the Caster Bowens. So this made sense to me. Light work for the Hurt Syndicate, but they get to look dominant on TV. And we get more of clearly the Acclaim stuff is coming to a head soon. So I thought this was smart.
A little shorter than I would have liked, but Caster gets dominated again.
It was more angle than match, but a smart
angle.
Yeah.
Not too long after Swerve wrecked him too. So Caster's been taking some heavy L's lately. And I like that MVP on commentary made a point that he waited too long, so they rescinded the offer, I think, to him as well.
That's
Kinda
what he
with
said.
Ricochet.
Yeah.
Hurt Syndicate looked dominant per the usual, and once again, zero complaints with Shelton's work. He's impeccable. Lashley also looks like a beast, and again, they benefit from the story being told here. They dominated, and then the Acclaimed split is definitely imminent now. I wonder what will happen to both of them, since Caster doesn't seem destined for the Syndicate anymore, so he'll kind of flounder solo, I feel like. Because he has a good gimmick, less so in ring, and Bones is kind of the opposite. I hope his character grows if he goes solo, because he's good in the ring. Or do they do a thing
That's what I heard someone saying, that Caster calls himself the best wrestler alive, and he's not even the best wrestler in his tag team.
Yeah,
right.
Pretty much. And I think he should drop. I think the scissor stick should die with the Acclaimed.
Yes. Well, it's now with Ricochet.
Yeah, I guess so. I could see them also just turning heel, both of them.
Me too.
Just because, again, it's like best friends. I don't know what the split will do for them. I feel like they're just gonna get lost in the
Caster
shuffle.
can go back to heel rapping, which would be cool.
Yeah, I want that either way, whether he ends up doing enhancement matches or not.
I used to watch him on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood.
Right, you told me.
And he was not that cool.
Yeah. Speaking of Swerve, I did mention him. He's here. He's got an interview. He says he still hears the fans screaming his name, but he's been distracted lately, and it all ends tonight.
It's like, hey, I'm a babyface full time now, guys.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like that was.
Well, he has been, though.
I know, but he's been kind of like, I don't know. I think this was like, now I'm clearly back to it.
And he'll get back to doing what he does best. He'll show why 2024 belonged to him. He says winning tonight will guarantee him a spot in the gauntlet, which he's never been in since he was the world champion. Swerve leaves. Nana says Happy New Year before dancing out of frame.
Yeah, he was good. This is the kinder, gentler Swerve that I don't prefer, but he's still better than the average person. So I think
we're stuck here until he gets less over.
I think so too.
But the heel stuff got him over. So
I know. It's weird.
Catch 22, or it's a paradox. I don't know. Good stuff from Swerve as usual. Nothing super specific, but it was good. And I guess he has a point, since all of the gauntlet matches that weren't the tag one happened under his reign, I think.
Right.
Or when he was challenging for because there was the one in Dailies, which was for the international title shot, and I think he was champion then. Either that or he was challenging for the title. The one that Osprey won for a world title shot for Forbidden Door was for a shot at Swerve, obviously, and then even the one at All In was before he lost the title, so obviously couldn't be in that.
Nope.
So I guess that makes sense. Julia Hart, Jamie Hayter's up next. No entrance for Jamie Hayter.
That was... What are they doing to this poor woman?
So Hart's making her entrance. I think nothing of it. It's all dark and whatever. And then lights turn on. I'm like, and Hayter's there. I'm like, what?
So you can see me typing in front of you right now. I am in my best and worst of 2025, adding this match to matches I did not like.
Oh yeah, I gotta make that.
It's going in there. Unfortunately, not to spoil my thoughts on this match, but
it was pretty not good.
Before I forget, I want to get it in there.
Yeah, I need to make it, doc. I'll do it.
Don't do it now.
I'm not talking. But anyways, Hart countered out of a suplex near the stairs and slammed Hayter's head into the stairs. Hatebreaker for 2. Back heel trip from Hart for 2. Heartlocks and Heartless, which I think looks so bad. It's like a poor man's Rings of Saturn.
It's like she goes too far and feels like you could counter it or get like.
Well, and it's like the fact that she's kneeling, like Rings of Saturn. It's like better because it's just better. I don't know. They just do it better. Hart hangs on, or Brutalizer is the same thing. Hart hangs on while Hater's standing. Hater lifts her up into a DVD, followed by a basement Larry for 2. Hart trips Hater on the second rope. She crashes down. Hart grabs an arrow from under the ring, 'cause I guess she was doing archery in the segment.
She was. Yes, she was.
Still, though, like, were you going to stab her with an arrow?
Killed the cheerleader.
Like, I guess.
Punk talks about arrows in his promo this week, too. That I'll get to.
Great.
Great.
The ref takes it. She spits mist in Hater's face and pins her.
Ugh, yes. I don't know, man. I just did not enjoy this match. I thought it was really slow. Nothing looked impactful from either of them, and it looked like they were holding back or lacking chemistry, or they're not fully recovered from injuries, or they're like still a bit nervous from their injuries. I don't know. And then I thought their finish was ridiculous.
Well, then Hater's been back for a decent bit too, so
She
that
has.
doesn't even make sense.
I didn't
to
think
me.
she looked good here. I don't think this did anyone any favors, and it's just too bad because this is the first women's match of 2025, and I'm throwing it on like my list of matches I did not enjoy. It's already on there. So unfortunate because we loved Hater. I don't know what happened to her. Was she just a victim of working with someone who I don't think is as good as people think she is? Or has she
Yep.
regressed since her layoff from injury? I don't know. But it wasn't good. And like someone important clearly sees a lot in Julia Hart. I just wish I saw it too. You know what I mean? Like I don't think she's good in the ring. She's taken those little choppy steps running the ropes like she's not comfortable I don't know, man. Her stuff just didn't look impactful here. I didn't think they worked well together. I did not think this was a good match, unfortunately. I love Hater, but not here.
I'll keep going as I go. But yeah, like it was not great. It was sloppy early on, and what just wasn't gelling. I talk about the flow in a Switchblade promo, and this is like the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Despite her lackluster return, Hater's still strong in the ring, so this was not a showcase of that for me.
It was
and Hart
not.
is far from the worst on the roster because there's some bad ones, but she's nowhere near as good as people think she is.
I agree.
I think, especially even like
Someone important thinks she's great.
I don't even think her character work is bad, but her
it's not
character is
good.
far overrated.
You gave her, she just has to dress in dark stuff, walk slowly, and say nothing. It's not a very complicated
She does
character.
not fit the gimmick. I feel like we could have made a better choice.
I think they thought that was the cool part. We're going to take this adorable blonde 20-year-old cheerleader and make her this big dark character, and it's going to be
I
cool.
don't think it works.
I agree. Maybe for a time. It was over for a time.
It was, but I think she's highly overrated.
Never much with us.
The finish was dumb, too. Having an arrow is so ridiculous because, like, for me, it's one of two things. Either you're going to stab her with it and you're trying to murder someone on TV, or
well, it was a
severely
distraction to get the ref away so she could spit mist.
okay, but you could have just
she's
used a
smart.
chair.
She's wicked smart.
Let's say she's using the arrow.
She could have
You're
used anything.
either trying to stab someone with it because that's the only thing you can do,
call
or
back to her beautiful vignettes.
Or you're trying to hit them with the arrow. And the arrow, like, again, there's so many more painful weapons you can choose.
That's the arrow that killed the cheerleader. Okay? I don't know.
That's worse than Death
I'm working
Riders.
for Julia Hart now.
No, you should work for Death Riders.
Yeah.
The mist is fine as a lead up because like it makes sense to distract them they can't see and then you hit them with a move. But
lazy. I don't know.
It's not even that. For me, why would you pin someone off the mist? Because you don't need to see to kick out.
I know.
For me, that's what
I'm saying.
It doesn't
help Hater.
It makes sense to hit the mist and then hit a move because they can't see the move coming.
Sure.
So it's like, let's say you're Ospreay, for example, even though he would never do mist. I'm just saying.
Ospreay.
Or, sorry, Nakamura, because he does it, right?
I'll be him. Sure.
No. What? No.
He does.
So Nakamura does the miss, and then he hits Kinshasa because you can't see it, and then you pin him because you've been hit by a finisher.
He just needs you in the face.
Exactly.
Yes.
But it's kind of like the Rey Mysterio thing. But just because you're masculine, you can kick out.
I know.
Right? Like.
Or it's turned sideways, and he can't not.
Move your. That's what I'm thinking.
He struggles
right?
to fix
Move your shoulder. Like Hater, she didn't take enough damage to get pinned off of the miss.
She sure didn't.
Like
there
she
wasn't
could
a lot of
have
damage.
missed moonsault, like anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it just doesn't make sense.
Tough start for the division.
Yeah. Not great.
Nope.
Then we get an Ospreay Fletcher package. It was just the highlights from everything so far.
Just getting us fired up for a rubber match.
Did a great job of highlighting the history and the feud up until now. Not much to add other than commence the build to Australia.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Then we get a highlight of Okada's win and Omega's return. It turned into an Omega highlight. He's returning next week. I'm hyped to have him back. This was also solid.
So I'm really happy that he's walking straight into a program with Okada.
That seems like what it'll be, yeah.
But, again, not to pile on, this feels more important than Death Rider stuff to me.
That is Omega.
I know. But anyways, that is how it is.
Yeah. Then we get an Okada vignette. He talks about last year being the year of the Rainmaker and how winning the C2 proved he's the best tournament wrestler of all time. All those major tournament victories. He says nice try to Ospreay, calls him little brother again. He asks Omega how many times he needs to beat him, even though he also got beat. I guess he only lost the one time though, right? I think.
Yeah.
He says stay out of his business, bitch. And it's all he still amuses me.
He didn't get to say a lot. I thought he was great here. He sounded just really confident and believable. Said exactly what he needed to. English is pretty good enough for people to not be like, oh, I can't understand what he's saying. So yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. Then we hear from Mercedes Moné.
Mm-hmm.
Moné.
My note is at least a package means she has to speak less.
Yeah, she brags about being the greatest TBS champion of all time, wishes herself a happy new year, throws to a video package highlighting her year in 2024. It's a bunch of sound bites and match clips.
I did like that they pointed out like she had the #1 ranked match according to Sports Illustrated and #6.
And
so that was smart to
it also
incorporate.
touted her undefeated record.
Yeah, I thought that was smart to incorporate that.
She talks about Wrestle Dynasty in Tokyo coming up and says Mina has more gold that she wants and she's coming for the Rev Pro title. Money changes everything. Yada yada. CEO.
Yeah, so
say hello.
Weird to me that this gets more time and attention than the Fletcher Ospreay vignette and Okada because you're building to a match that's in another company.
Not only that, but
so that was weird to me.
This didn't really build to it that much. Like for me, it was fine, but it didn't need to be here because she, other than plugging Wrestle Dynasty minimally, she didn't say anything of consequence. And they could have stuck the highlight reel instead, like as its own thing.
Yeah.
And that would have been sufficient to me. And you can tell Wrestle Dynasty is not on the same level as Forbidden Door because there's not a lot of major AEW guys going there.
And Moné's not an amazing live promo that I need them to like shoehorn it into the show.
Yeah, like Jericho.
Right. No Jericho this week.
But still. Roddy Strong interview. Cole says the Undisputed Kingdom is now complete because Kyle O'Reilly is there wearing the shirt. He's got the shirt on and it's on him and he's wearing it on his torso. He talks about how they all have their bases covered because they can cover every division now, I guess, like singles, tag,
and trios.
Taven world
all
title,
of it, obviously.
Bennett world title next.
Yep. You can share it.
Finger poke of doom.
It'd be like Lay Cool. Deep pull there, right?
That'd be great. Roddy says he's getting the spot in the Gauntlet match next week. It'll be every man for themselves. I said I would love this so much if they didn't have the feud they just had and also have Taven Bennett in their group. Taven Bennett weren't here. I just want to remind myself so I don't get too excited. Get them out, please, because if they didn't give me a little bit of pseudo Undisputed Era in AEW, I will forgive that whole horrible feud and leave it last year. I'll leave it in last year if they just give me Undisputed Era. But if they keep the Kingdom around, I'm gonna keep pissing on it.
I hope MJF stuff's in the rearview mirror at this point.
I think it is because we'll talk about the MJF promo later.
And I'm okay having these guys back together. It is
they're a sick unit.
It is, but we're having to forget some recent history, I guess. But
hey, if they give me my favorite group, I will forget it.
Yeah. So everyone involved with Cole is just like you have to not remember his history with them, and that's not good for him.
Yeah, but you can remember their history, just not the MJF stuff.
Right.
Just pull a Tony Storm.
Yes. Okay.
Roddy, also, you talked about the Gauntlet being every man for himself, which was good to know because I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Great detail.
I'm also not sure though if it's sudden death because that's never been clarified to me.
Never know.
So I don't like when does it end? Like it has to end after 10 minutes, right? Like it can't end right away, surely.
No.
These are things I need to know, Will Washington.
Hey, NXT doesn't even know the rules of their own matches.
That's true. Apparently.
You don't have to know.
As long as your rules are in a gray area, it's fine.
Yes.
Oh, man. We'll
get to that.
Yep. Then we get Swerve Strickland versus Roddy Strong versus Jay White for the #1 spot in next week's Casino Gauntlet. And so I like that they always do this. It's a good tease for the Gauntlet match it usually comes the week after.
Gives a random match stakes.
They did this with O'Reilly, Cassidy, and I think it was Roddy again last time for the All-In one, I think, right? And so I like it because it kind of reminds you that the match is coming and it's an excuse to get a three-way, which we don't usually get. So it's cool. And like this, especially for this, it's three talents I really enjoy. So I'm not complaining about that whatsoever. Hip toss, and he does that smooth transition to Swerve into the suplex on Roddy. White with a double DDT. White goes on a solid flare, taking both guys. Suplex drops on the apron for both. Swerve catches Roddy's foot and goes under with the backbreaker. Then he buckle bombs Roddy into White, who was already in the corner. Roddy counters the roll through Flatliner from Swerve with a codebreaker. Olympic slam to White and a tire bomb for 2. Roddy pops up Swerve and he does like the sudden Swerve stomp, kind of like the
the standing guy.
more so like the cave-in.
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out to Cameron Grimes.
Yep.
Swerve walks along the barricade and hits White with a pump kick. Then Ricochet comes from the crowd and hits him in the head with a pair of scissors, as you do. Then back in the ring, Blade Runner to Roddy and Switchblade picks up the win. Swerve's now busted open nasty as Ricochet continues after the match. Nana tries to intervene. Ricochet threatens him with the scissors. Nana backs off. He goes up to Swerve further with the scissors in front of the announce desk and headbutts him. Blood stains on his suit shirt, and
looked great.
Bald head. It was pretty crazy. Ricochet grabs a chair and shoves Nana down while he tries to stop him. Then he hits Nana with the chair, which is a good way to get heat.
Exactly.
In the ring, he seats Swerve on the chair and hits a spirit gun.
Yeah. First of all, really good triple threat. Crowd really supportive of Swerve, and you found a way to, even though Swerve's probably the most important guy in that match, to have him not win it, right?
Because obviously that's not the plan.
The win allows White to continue his pursuit of Mox and that title, which is a story I'm enjoying, and Ricochet costing Swerve the match allows them to further that program, and that's been made infinitely more interesting by the recent change in Ricochet's presentation. So why scissors? Is there any chance that this is like related to the Acclaimed?
Am
I reading too much into it?
Why it would be.
Why of all things do you choose? There's lots of sharp objects out there, but you picked one that's like the signature thing of a group that's someone's turning heel in right now.
The new Acclaimed?
And not to go wrestling, but they're also both minorities of the same ilk.
New Acclaimed.
Right?
Ricochet.
So anyways, I don't know. I just thought that was strange. But hitting Nana with the chair, as you said, a great way to get heel heat. The blood all over Ricochet's white dress shirt was awesome. And then there was a kid like blood curdling screaming
that
really added
cool
to the presentation.
And Ricochet's maniacal laugh after he got chased off by the Undisputed
Yeah.
Kingdom was a little much, but also kind of a good touch because it kind of makes him look insane.
Right? And Swerve, again, this is kind of from Pulp Fiction, he had to expect a reaction. Now, is Ricochet's reaction over the top? Maybe, but he's been punked out severely twice now. And so again, this is his heel origin, and to him, this makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm. I was thinking with your Acclaim bit, we could combine two of the greatest wrestling tropes: people the same minority in a faction, and putting the word "new" in front of a tag team.
There you go.
Two
It's
of the
the
greatest
new
things.
Acclaimed.
Yeah,
And Bowens is odd man out.
yeah, and that never goes wrong.
No, never.
So, this was a good TV match, though, a fun one as I expected. I like that they, like I said, I like this as a precursor to the Gauntlet match. It was fun. I wish it was a little longer, honestly. But the action was good.
Honestly.
They had their moments and went back and
Can't
forth a lot. The finish was nice with the Ricochet run in. It furthers a couple stories, like White continues on his path,
Right.
which I like. And the Blade Runner's also put over again as that out of nowhere one and done, right? Which
Yeah.
we've been kind of picking up on lately.
And Roddy was just kind of there, unfortunately.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah, he's
That's kind of
cool.
how he rolls.
It is.
I'm glad White won. I feel like he has to be a favorite to win that unless like they throw Cope in that or something.
Roddy, to make
or
it a
Jarrett.
comparison you won't get, but like on a basketball team or a sports team.
Oh
right?
yeah.
So like a basketball team, you don't run plays for Roddy Strong, but he's a valuable part of the team, right? We're not designing anything specifically for you, but you're very useful.
Yes.
That's him.
That was apt.
He's a good hand.
That was a good comparison.
He's a good hand. I'll bury him right there. He's
He's
got all the tools. That's another one.
But like, oh yeah, that is the one. Or B+ player? No.
That's when they say got all the tools, they're basically saying, but you suck for some reason.
There's a reason we don't like
Right?
you, and we just don't want to specify. Anyways, I feel like White has to be the favorite next week because if he's not, I'm gonna cry.
Okay.
I'll talk about the world title scene pretty soon because I'm gonna get kind of pissed. I think you know what I'm talking about.
I probably do.
Anyways, post-match stuff was great. Ricochet looked insane
it's
with
next,
Swerve's
I think.
blood. It's getting close, yeah. With Swerve's blood stained all over him, and the vicious side was really cool. Like it's a crazy 180.
Yes, it is.
I don't know what else to say. This is again easily the most interesting and maybe even cool Ricochet's ever been. Because
He's gone from bland to like very spicy all of a sudden.
if I wasn't describing his in-ring work, I don't know if I'd ever describe him as cool.
No, of course not.
Like it would purely be on an in-ring basis.
There was a very big disconnect between him in ring and out of the ring.
Yeah,
and I think it just bothered everybody, whether they were aware of it or not.
Yeah, and I think it's finally gelling.
Yes,
even if that means changing up his in-ring style a bit, but that's what Ospreay did. Now
Right.
Ospreay's undisputably the best wrestler
whatever
ever.
you need to do
Fight
to
me.
connect with the crowd, because that's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah,
is to
the
connect.
worst thing is indifference. Whether
And-
it's heel
right.
heat or
Right.
getting cheered, you need that audible reaction, which is why I liked it so much when last year we talked about in the best of Fletcher, whether he was a babyface or a heel at times, he would get really good reactions, especially when he turned heel. So I think getting past the indifference is really important.
It is.
And here some people are seeing the TP incident as a burial for him, but
No,
best thing that could have happened to him.
it's a villain origin.
Yeah. Marvez interviews Jarrett's peeps. Jarrett comes in saying tonight's a big night. He asks where Karen is. Lethal says they're going to support him no matter what. The wife comes in. They're unbreakable or something. I don't even care.
My thing is, I simply cannot connect to any of the emotion being portrayed here. The performers, I'm sure, are doing a fine job. They just
I like Lethal.
They have no shot of garnering interest from me. And then I said, what is the story being told here? Did I miss something? So it's teasing retirement?
He mentioned it on the pay-per-view, and that was it.
Great.
Unrelated, I saw there's this page that posts a different finisher every day, and I just randomly came across Dut's Moonstomp. That was pretty gnarly.
Oh,
looking.
yeah, it was.
Pretty sweet looking.
Yeah.
They're teasing the retirement way too hard, and the funny part is that's exactly what I want. They're like, "Oh no, you're gonna retire. Don't just but if it's your decision, we support it, and well, we're here for you always." And I'm like, "Yeah, retire.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want." Hell, I don't know why they ever brought him in here, why he's still wrestling, or again, why he's a babyface. That was never answered to me. It was because Owen Hart. I don't give a single iota about this, and I just want Jarrett to go away.
Yeah.
I think I've been wanting that since he came. I don't remember exactly when he came, but I'd want him to leave. Unfortunately, spoilers being what they are, I already know they're not giving me what I want. I think that bothered me too was Karen talking about how the business broke him and how hard it's been. It sounds like they're trying to do the Danielson thing, except I don't care and I don't want it. I want him to leave. I want Danielson to wrestle. I want Jarrett to retire. There's a difference.
It just went into my additional random things I didn't enjoy about
He's
the
also
year.
considerably older than Danielson, so he should be retired.
Yes.
Like, it's ridiculous.
But people are enjoying him, man. I don't
don't
us,
understand.
but
Like,
people do. I know.
In what universe are some people enjoying
Nostalgia
Jarrett?
runs deep in wrestling fans. I'm the exception, not the rule.
I guess.
I
but,
don't
like,
want
In
these
what
people.
universe are people universally loving Jeff Jarrett's wrestling in the 2020s, but Jay White's polarizing? I'll bring that back because Jay White's fantastic. He is awesome.
Jeff Jarrett's fantastic.
Like, in what universe?
You clip that out of context. Me saying Jeff Jarrett is better than Jay White.
That'll be great for two reasons. You're praising Jeff Jarrett and you're an English teacher.
That's right.
Anyways, next we got Mariah May interview. She says she was told not to say any more bad things about the women's division, so she sarcastically says it's great.
Yes.
She talks about having more matches than anyone else in the division, and she says they were busy getting injured or forgetting who they are, while she did better than anyone else, and it was so good you didn't realize how good it was. She says now it's time for the greatest division to prove themselves to her, and she's the woman from hell. She's still standing on their necks, and they're gonna have to work for it if they want a chance to breathe again. She says nobody can touch her, and she'd love to see them try.
So I love that she's like, the powers that be are telling me I can't keep criticizing the division, but she just does in a different way anyways. Right?
Yeah, which is like, I like the creativity she has. The sarcasm was so good, and it's just how,
and the whole like people are forgetting who they are.
Yeah, she's so cruel and condescending, and like the pointed lines taking shots at the roster were so great. Like, it was kind of general, but it's so good still.
She's great. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't see anyone on the horizon that I would like her to end her title
Stylander
run.
just needs to cut promos.
It will take a special build for me to believe that her reign should end because she's awesome.
I agree. It's like Samoa Joe. I just kind of like every facet of what she's doing.
I agree. She's good at every part of wrestling.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Like Jay White.
Right. And Jeff Jarrett. Speaking of.
Okay. All right. So he talks about his family, his history in the business. Like, he goes on for way too long.
Oh my god.
Grandma sold tickets. Dad wrestled. Dad promoted wrestling. He wrestles. Promote wrestling with his dad. TNA.
I'm sure none of them slimy people, because wrestling people,
wrestling
promoters back in the day
are a kind bunch.
They are a pillar of the community.
Name one wrestling promoter who did really bad things to get to the top.
Zero. There's an old saying that if you are a wrestling promoter, it's straight to heaven. Like, you don't even...
There's actually another saying too. If you're a good person, chances are you promote wrestling.
That's correct.
So yeah, that was he talked about that for so long. After 10 minutes, probably he talks about present day and says he isn't done, and the last outlaw wants one more ride.
Nope.
He's
Request denied.
I wrote he resigned with AEW. Put a hyphen there. He re-signed with AEW.
Just wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Freudian slip, as they say.
Yep. He re-signed with AEW for his last talent contract of his career, and he wants AEW Gold. I'm going to call bullshit on that, because in 2023, Dustin Rhodes is like, this is my last full-time year, and here he is in 2025 with 2 ROH belts.
Mm-hmm.
Liar.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, he says he wants the world title. His resolution is to win the title, and he wants to be put in the Casino Gauntlet match.
Nope.
I said, God bless the one fan who shouted when he was teasing retirement. He said, "Don't do it, Slapnut." That almost saved this segment for me.
Yeah.
I think the Slapnut thing's so stupid.
It
but
is.
like that,
He tried to make that cool.
It was so. It's like Matt Taven with the Melvin thing. Have
And
you ever seen
Taz with Rocket Buster was one that he tried to make back in
That's dumb.
WWE.
Have you ever seen the clip from like WCW? I want to say it was 99 2000. Obviously, it's Jerry. He's walking through the hall, and it's Beetlejuice, like the
the character from Howard Stern,
like the black dude,
the little
like,
dude. Yeah, he was on
and
Howard Stern.
Yeah, and he's calling him like Slapnut.
He's a special lad.
Yeah, so he's talking to Jerry. It's really funny. And then Jerry just wails him with the guitar. It's really funny, but that's my only positive memory of the Slapnut thing.
Fair enough.
Anyways, thoughts.
My only thing was my note says I want none of this. Not every old guy that wants one last run needs to have a lengthy, successful one.
I think it's Danielson, and then
Snuff it out.
that's it. Maybe Nigel deserves one.
I don't know, but this...
Even then, I don't really.
I don't want this. I don't want it taking time on TV from other people. Same as you feel, basically.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I got it. It was such an unbelievable waste of time. I was so bored, and I couldn't care less. He should not only have retired here, but he really should have been retired years and years ago, probably when he stopped wrestling for TNA.
Mm-hmm.
Why the hell people even want to see him wrestle is crazy to me. Why people think he's still good is crazy to me. He can't go anymore, and I doubt he was even the most interesting in his prime. Can you vouch for that?
He was good. He was like a B+ player.
Okay, so he's Cody.
He was like a cool intercontinental level guy.
Okay, but not someone who should still be wrestling.
No, of course
or
not.
like not never the guy.
Of course,
or
no,
nothing
never the
special.
guy unless Daddy was booking it.
Right.
Yeah.
Or WCW was going to shit.
Yes, exactly.
Because his AEW matches stink. Like anytime we see him solo, we don't like him.
No, of course
we
not.
don't want him matches. Looking at the worst stuff for 2024, the worst match of 2023 for me was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre death match, and that was horrible. It's like the Danielson run, but on a level it doesn't work at all. Danielson's still a peak wrestler, whereas Jarrett peaked when WCW was dying.
Right.
I'd love to know in what universe does it make sense for Jarrett to win, or even so much as challenge for the world title. If he wins that gauntlet next week and deprives my boy Switchblade of even a title shot, I'm going to punch something. We're doing the Takeshita thing here. If he wins the Owen this year and deprives Switchblade, Fletcher, Swerve, Ospreay, Takeshita, Hangman, or anyone even remotely deserving a title shot, I'm out. Because that's the stupidest thing they could possibly do this year. I don't think they would, but I don't think they wouldn't.
You never know.
I'm just saying, it's one thing to give an old timer like Sting a tag title run, and believe me, I will bitch about that too.
And Sting, however you feel, is an icon.
Sting, sure. Fair play to him. He was the guy. He's
correct.
An all-timer. Like, he is leagues above Jarrett in star power and standing. So, you know what? That's another point. At least in his prime, he was the top guy. Like, he was the guy against Flair, right?
Yep.
And, again, tag titles are a different thing. But Jarrett's going for the main belt. Like, you can't. You can't.
I hope
again,
not.
Danielson is different. Danielson is great. Like, if Danielson was still wrestling now, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Hell, if he was in the C2 again, I would be happy. If Jarrett's in the C2, I'm like, do we have to?
I know.
Don't do this, TK. Jarrett better fail and retire. Or if he really wants gold, I'll allow it. He can go follow Jericho to ROH.
Absolutely.
That's fine.
It's a great place for
That's
him.
fine. You can stay there.
Yep.
Spike a rating. Spike the nostalgia rating over in ROH.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Well, that seems to be the plan here. I don't know. Slapnut. Like,
I don't know either.
I don't know. Hook promo, he's sitting on the stairs on the street. Something like that.
Yep. challenging
He says
Christian.
beating up Christian and his cronies in the lounge and beating Nick Wayne on Rampage and Hammerstein, RIP Rampage. Their business isn't finished. He challenges Christian to a match, and we get a graphic for Maximum Carnage.
Awesome. I don't know, man. Like fine.
So it's fine. I wish this was finished, but I guess we need the blow-off match. And so for me, it's not a bad story. It's just not interesting.
And Christian still got the title shot that seems to be sort of...
I'm not sure what the plan is, because
I don't either.
I was positive, and maybe there has...
Christian beats Mox, or Edge beats Mox. Christian challenges Edge. Ugh.
No offense to Christian, I don't want that.
No, not at all.
And offense to Cope.
As non-nostalgia, don't want former WWE guys doing stuff. This is... or certain ones, at least.
Here's my list of people I don't want as AEW World Champion. Jarrett, Christian, Edge, Jericho.
Yeah, fair.
Anyways, my theory is I think their hesitation to pull the trigger on Christian's contract maybe supports my theory that I think he was supposed to cash in probably, and Killswitch was probably supposed to screw him.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, Killswitch was in the match, and he was going to turn on him. Remember, he came out as Luchasaurus at All In, right?
Right. And Kip Sabian is so damn
him.
inconsequential they can't do it with him.
Yeah, right. And like, it's just the history's not there even, as much as I love my boy. And so I think, I think it's an instance of the story they wanted to tell kind of been killer.
Derailed by an injury.
Again, best wishes to Luchasaurus. I hope he's doing well. Not just because of the story, but I love him. He's really cool, so I hope he's doing well. I mean, last we heard he was doing better, right? So hopefully he's well. But yeah, I definitely think it's affecting things here. And I just don't. And I think I'm just out on the hook. I think after I talked about it in the best of when I was talking about Samoa Joe, he really. Because we were always kind of iffy on Hook. I remember you kind of bought into the hype when he was starting out, right?
He was cool.
When he was really over, and then it kind of plateaued for a while, right?
Yes.
But then there was that Samoa Joe match, and we were kind of like, it was fiery babyface Hook, and it was a bit of a new side of him. We were like, oh, okay, that was pretty sick. And then he started dealing with Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
And then it all went to crap. And now I'm just like, I don't need him anymore. And I think you mentioned it too, and because I know we talked about it with Ava, and that'll come up in more stuff, but I know you mentioned about Hook too, is like, it's kind of an Nepo baby thing, because I think if he wasn't related to Taz, he wouldn't be here.
I agree.
And yeah, it's just not, I don't need it. Then we get Hobbs in a squash against Rob Killjoy and good old John Cruz. Serpentico,
getting jobbed.
Spanish Announce Project. At least Angelico's not jobbing. Where's Angelico?
I don't know.
I love Angelico.
Me too.
I wish they would even put him up for enhancement matches. Man, I'd love to see Angelico in any capacity.
He's cool.
Hobbs with a shorearm lariat to clock Killjoy. Shorearm clotheslines in the opposite corner. Scoop power slam to Cruz. Spinebuster to Killjoy. Then he spinebusters Cruz on Killjoy. I feel dumb saying that name.
I didn't even get that was his name out of this.
Yeah, anyways, Hobbs wins, obviously. Solid squash, he looks strong. And because that match with Takeshita turns out better than I thought it would, I'd be okay if they ran that back again.
I think that may have influenced this.
I think so.
I think he kind of showed out, and they were like, let's keep him at top of mind for people. Yeah.
They seem to be saying he's in the gauntlet next week, too, so that's cool. And I say we throw in Takeshita, and they could meet in that.
Yep.
And we could set up a rematch again. I'm not saying Hobbs should beat him. That's not what I'm saying. Tony and Khan, I know you listen to me, so don't do that.
Yeah.
But give him another match.
Yep.
I'd be okay with that. And I would also like to see, just selfishly, I want Takeshita and Switchblade to interact in that match, because if Switchblade is a babyface, we have a rare opportunity to do Switchblade and Takeshita. Mm-hmm. So do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we don't get jobber matches often, and sometimes there's a use for them, so I didn't mind this.
I think it's fine. It's timely, so I think that's when a squash match is effective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we get a Learning Tree promo. Bill says Jericho isn't here. Bless the gods.
Marvez asks, because I was like, why can't you just let us enjoy that he's not there? You immediately have to ask where he is.
Yeah. The right answer is not here. Mm-hmm. Keith says Asheville is aight.
And then Bill said that, and it made me laugh a little bit.
Yeah, you did giggle at Big Bill. Bill sees Braid FTR off screen, and they go over so Bill can insult them. He says he doesn't know if they should be ashamed of being proud of Asheville or vice versa. Bill says hometown heroes a lot. He says they need to be taking down a branch or two, and Keith calls them the Braid are dumbasses. And I was just like, I was trying hard not to hate that, because it was just made me cringe.
But I think it was
hard.
Intentionally lame so that Edge could.
I don't care. It's just
jump on it.
I can't even buy that's intentionally lame, because his whole gimmick is stupid. Copeland says Keith is like a tumbleweed rolling around. Bill's face looks stupid, which I thought was weird, but I guess they look similar. So I think
they've been told they look similar,
which makes it kind of funny.
Yeah.
He challenges them to a learning tree match on Collision, and I did giggle when he mocked the bye guys.
Yeah.
That made me chuckle.
I think these guys could be amusing, but Jericho just soaks up all of the spotlight, right?
I think Bill's kind of amusing.
Bill is amusing, and we like Keith in ring. He just needs to
be serious.
Get away from this.
I think Keith is not funny. Bill could be funny.
Yep.
I think he was kind of funny here, but still that Jericho-ified sense of humor, though, right?
Yeah.
I think if he were allowed to be his own character, I think Bill could be funny.
Yeah,
because this wasn't even bad.
No,
which is funny because Jericho's not here. So
he just literally stands center stage, gets to say everything. It's all about Jericho, right? So when he's gone, they get to showcase a bit.
Copeland was kind of funny too. I'm not gonna lie. But doing Edge versus Jericho in 2025 is absolutely insane, as it would be 15 years on from their last singles feud.
Yeah.
And I do remember that because Edge won the 2010 Rumble and Jericho's World Heavyweight Champion. They fought at Mania 26, which was 15 years ago. However, if that's what it takes to get Copeland away from Moxley in the AEW title, I will take it.
For sure. I agree.
You have to think of the lesser two of evils here. Would I rather him go for the AEW title, the world title I care about, or the one that doesn't mean anything?
I'm all for tying guys I don't care about in feuds together because it kills two birds and they're not.
That's true. They're
not dragging down other people.
Then Jericho can't ruin someone I care about. Correct. Yeah, so that makes sense actually. MJ promo from after the match at World's End.
All bloody and sitting somewhere.
Yeah. Again, blood was ruined that night.
It was.
He mocks Cole for losing and says this ends the chapter between them.
Yes. Chapter or novel? Like, chapter implies there's other chapters. So no thanks.
He says he's focused on getting even and getting his Triple B back. He talks about Mox having the belt in the briefcase and says he doesn't care if he burns the company to the ground, but he's coming for his belt back. Customarily good promo from him. I'm glad he's done with the Cole scenario. All I needed to hear. If MJF's getting in the world title scene, we could have a stacked division this year, like Mox, Switchblade, I guess Cassidy, Darby, Ospreay, MJF, Takeshita. But I was saying he should start making some self-indulgent puns about being like the face of Max. Like, he should start doing Max stuff. I don't know what you could come up with.
He could do it.
Like, he could come up with something funny. I just think it'd be cool for him.
I did like that he's pissed that his favorite trophy is being hidden in a briefcase.
That makes sense for him because whereas
that.
Mox is on a thing right now that is kind of interesting where he's like the title, you don't need the title to be the champion. Like, it's just a piece of hardware kind of thing, right? Because he's on this anti-AEW crusade or whatever. MJF's like the opposite of that. He's got this blinged out ring and the nice suits. Like, the title is something that he would obviously care about, not just being the best, but also having this blinged out belt.
And he's a heel, so he's like, I don't care if you want to destroy this company. I just want my belt.
I thought that was a good way of maintaining the grudge between them because they have a history. Like, he beat Moxley for the title, right?
Yeah.
But because they're both heels right now, they kind of have to play nice in a way, right? So he did a good job of kind of toting that.
I agree.
We come to our main event, which is Death Riders versus Rated FTR, and he's officially rated our Cope.
Nope, not doing it.
Cope.
Nope.
Cope.
Nope.
No.
Edge.
Really? You
or Copeland. It's just dumb. I don't know.
I think it's dumb too, and it's so weird because we would call him Edge because Copeland was too long, which is part of why he changed it. But at the same time, I think for me, it's like I'd rather him use his full name than something derivative of Edge, and Cope on its own just sounds dumb.
Is that he wanted like a one-syllable, four-letter word so bad?
I think he wanted the one-syllable thing.
Then go bland. Take the back half of it. I don't know.
Adam? I don't think it's because there's also multiple Adams, but I don't care about that because I'm never going to call him Adam.
Or take the middle at Pela.
What?
Pella, P-E-L-A. Take the middle of Copeland. Why does that have to be the front?
I mean,
Sounds better.
We should call him Coppola.
Yeah.
You know?
There you go.
I might call him Coppola now. I saw something with Renee. It's because he said Adam Copeland's too wordy. And it's easier to see Cope versus Mox on a marquee. But the funny part is he doesn't go by Mox.
No.
By that logic, that's implying that his name's Mox.
Yeah.
See, Cope, I hate it too because it reeks of early 2020s Vince McMahon. Theory, Ali, other ones. What were Riddle. Because, they thought that would just magically make things disappear.
They all lost first names.
Who else? Like, there's a lot of people who got their names taken away. I guess both heavy machinery guys, although that one doesn't bother me as much. I thought, like, Theory and Riddle were particularly dumb ones for me.
It was.
Anyways, I do kind of want to call him Coppola now. It makes me giggle.
We got to get through Dynamite so I can charge this laptop.
You're right.
It's dying.
Okay. Coppola takes out Claudio with a drop kick through the ropes and he throws him back in the ring. Shafir shoves him in the ring post while the ref is checking on Claudio. Cash Wheeler gets a hot tag flare, which I thought was interesting.
That's when things kind of picked up,
Yeah.
honestly.
But it's interesting 'cause usually it's Dax.
Yes.
And I was disappointed we didn't get
Cash
that.
flies around good, though.
There are so many times where he's just like zipping around the place. I'm like, I forget how speedy and intense he is. FTR go for a spike pile driver on Yuta, but Claudio interferes. Dax with a brainbuster to Claudio, then Yuta rolls up Dax for 2. A huge avalanche back suplex to Yuta from Dax for a 2 count. Claudio broke the pin on that. Claudio with a suplex to Dax and a diving splash from Yuta for 2. Coppola hot tag and Mox tags in so they trade shots. He counters a Death Rider and hits an Impaler DDT. Yuta goes to mock him with a spear, gets countered with a sit-out powerbomb for 2. Cash runs full sprint looking to suicide dive Mox, but Claudio cut him off with an uppercut. That was pretty sweet. Mox looks to power drive Coppola on the announce table. While the ref is distracted by that, Jay White runs in, hits a Blade Runner to Yuta. So that was a nice way to kind of further the stuff from before.
Mm-hmm.
Coppola dives on a Mox through the barricade, smash contraption and spear on Yuta to get the win.
So I guess beating Death Riders isn't so hard after all.
I guess.
Like, does this not crush what they've been doing? I don't know. Like,
I mean, they
3 guys randomly thrown together just beat you in the main event.
I'm sure they're just gonna blame Yuta because he's their young
I guess,
boy.
but I don't know. I did think it started out slowly, then things picked up, a crowd brawling to slow it back down again. I thought a fine main event trios match, but quick build, no stakes attached to it, right? Hard to get too excited.
Yeah.
Love the uppercut to the diving Wheeler. Oh yeah, it was Wheeler. I'm like, Yuta? No, it wasn't, but never mind. Finish had a lot of moving parts, but solid overall, I guess.
Solid main event to end things. Copeland looks solid, but like about as good as he ever did. Like no ring rust, I guess. But
No,
nothing outstanding for me.
Nothing crazy.
Dax had a couple cool moves, but I wish FTR did more in general. I'm a little bothered we didn't get the Dax hot tag because he's usually on fire with that, and that's my high point. But Cash is good too, to his credit. Claudio was stellar as usual. Mox need to play the roles as well. White playing running makes sense because he's being positioned, I think, to win the gauntlet to get the next title shot, and he has the beef with Yuta for costing the last shot.
Mm-hmm.
He won't win against Mox, but he 100% deserves his 1-on-1 shot. At least I don't care what other people say. Again, Jay White's fantastic.
I say pull the plug on Death Riders and let White win.
I mean, I would be all right with that, but again,
or relegate them to mid card or something.
No, it's Darby. Darby is.
I know, but are we like how long are we gonna have to deal with this to get there?
They just need to make it better. I thought they were doing good in the build up to the 4-way.
They're not gonna make it better.
I thought they were doing good before.
You want it to be good real bad.
That was Undisputed Kingdom
for
me. That was me wanting it to be good. It's a much better option than Copeland or heaven forbid Jarrett. I hope this is it for this feud though, because I don't need to see Mox versus Copeland.
No, not at all.
Coppola.
Overall, I liked a lot of things on the show, but with the Death Riders being such a focal point, I didn't love it. I'm much more interested in several things like Osprey Fletcher, Hurt Syndicate and their dealings, Ricochet and Swerve, Mariah May, whatever she's doing. Like, I prefer all of those things to the thing that they're jamming down my throat. And I don't dislike Death Riders per se, although it sounds like I do. I just think
it's like how you dislike Monet.
They're being overexposed, and their story's not strong enough to carry the amount of time and attention they're getting, at least for me. But still not a bad show. I like the opening match, the triple threat, and there are stories I'm interested in, as I just said. So I have high hopes for AEW in 2025. I just hope the main event scene gets a bit more interesting. So I went with a B show this week.
Yeah. I forgot to write down any thoughts, but like, I don't hate the Death Rider stuff as much. I still kind of like it. And I'm just kind of curious to see where. I guess it'll go to White, I assume. I really liked his promo as well. I liked that triple threat a lot. The opener was really good too. I think the matches generally were good, aside from the worst women's match of the year.
Yeah, it was for
so
sure.
far.
Yep.
And
the Jarrett stuff was
also really
dragged
bad.
it down a bit.
I forgot about that. The Swerve Ricochet stuff was really cool though. Hurt Syndicate, that match.
I thought there was some logical booking for sure in terms of quick matches that are furthering stories.
Yeah, and even like the squash made sense. So I think there's a lot of good stuff here. Like Okada was good, Monet was fine, and so I think it was a B show. Yeah, it's just shy of a B plus, but there was some good stuff here. A decent start to the year, but We can get better.
We can. All right, so that wraps up that. I'm going to run and grab a charging cord for this laptop so it doesn't die. And you won't notice because I'll edit that all out. But when you see me back here, it will be seconds later, and we will be going into our trivia segment that we call Off the Top of His Head. Okay, so trivia. Don't know if I've done this before. Don't care, as I always say. Inspired by your recent going back and watching, cherry picking some takeover stuff. So there's been 30, according
It's not cheating because I only watched one match.
According to my notes, there's been 36 takeovers.
Last takeover was takeover 36.
I'm going to do the first half of them. So starting from the original up to 18, and then we may continue next week. Because even if you know, you don't go and study. So, and yes, if you were worried, we got the computer plugged in and charging. Full charge, not full charge, but full coffee. So that's nice. I'm obsessed with this stupid little mug for some reason.
It looks weird to me.
I love it. I don't know what it is about it. But anyways. Okay, so the original event was called Takeover in 2014. Can you tell me the main event of that? It's going to be tough.
It'd be Neville and someone. Yeah.
It was Neville for the NXT Championship.
Was it? Like, I want to say, I feel like there's a chance it was Tyson Kidd.
It was Tyson Kidd, and that is crazy. Very good. The second one, I guess, was just called Fatal 4-Way, so that gives you a pretty good hint as to the main event.
It was him, Kidd.
Who's him?
Neville.
Correct.
Him, Kidd.
Tyson Kidd again, correct.
Was it Zayn and Breeze?
It was Zayn and Breeze. That's ridiculous.
And see, Takeover 4-Way could be misleading because there's also the infamous 4 Horsewomen 4-Way, but I think that's our Evolution. It's not the main event, so it doesn't matter.
Bonus question. How many takeovers before it left Full Sail?
7.
Close. 5.
Damn.
So the third one is Our Evolution.
That's Zayn and Neville, right?
That is Zayn and Neville.
Yeah.
Next is, so that's 2014. 2015 is NXT Takeover Rival.
That's Owens and Zayn, right?
That is Owens and Zayn, yes. Then we've got NXT, I don't remember these names. Unstoppable.
That one I don't remember. Was that? It's Owens and someone, right?
Owens and?
Is it Zayn again?
It is Zayn again.
Okay,
maybe just run it back, you know?
Yeah. I know the first one when he won the title was, I think, a ref stoppage.
NXT Brooklyn.
Yeah, so this is where they've gone out of Full Sail. It's going to be all the location ones.
This is Barclays' first time out of Full Sail.
Except for some of the ones, I think.
They go back to Full Sail for the next one.
This one we did an episode on already, actually.
Because we went back and watched what?
This is the one we did with Nate.
Oh my God, I forgot. There's your brother's involved in one.
This is Balor.
I might go back and listen to that.
Owens in a ladder match.
That's probably cute as hell.
Yeah,
it is Balor and Owens in a ladder match. So then we're back to Full Sail for a quick one. NXT Takeover Respect 2015.
Oh right, was that's Bayley and Sasha? Isn't
it is. What kind of match?
That's the Iron Woman one.
It is the Iron Woman match.
Okay.
Takeover London.
Takeover London. That's Balor and Joe.
How dare you? Yes, of course, it's Samoa and Joseph.
Balor and Joe.
Takeover Dallas.
Balor and Joe.
Balor and Joe again. Takeover The End.
Balor and Joe. Cage match. Yeah.
It is. So 3 of them. Brooklyn 2.
Joe Nakamura.
Correct. Toronto.
Joe Nakamura.
Correct. San Antonio.
Nakamura Rude.
Why do you know this stuff? Takeover Orlando.
Nakamura Rude.
Correct. Takeover Chicago.
That's
this
the DIY AOP ladder match, right?
Correct. It is. Yeah. That was pretty good, I think.
That was, and that was the heel turn after.
Right.
That's the only reason I know is the main event.
Takeover Brooklyn 3 from 2017.
Rude McIntyre.
Rude and McIntyre, correct. We saw McIntyre in NXT, didn't we?
Yeah, that was. Remember we saw McIntyre Andrade before it happened?
Oh yeah, that's right.
War Games.
That's right. So now it is NXT War Games.
But the main event would be the War Games match.
It was, which is who?
It's Undisputed Era versus Sanity versus Roddy and AOP, which is the funny team.
That's correct.
Remember Roddy dressed up too?
Oh yeah, that's right. Like they need a figure like that with the Shield angle.
That would be funny.
So last one to take us halfway. NXT Takeover Philadelphia 2018 from the Wells Fargo Center.
Gargano Andrade.
Gargano Andrade. Have you heard of that match?
No,
before?
never.
Banger.
You could watch that on Netflix now.
I probably will, to be honest.
I feel like I'll watch it again.
I would watch that.
I think I have it on DVD, though.
I love that. I don't think it's my favorite match ever anymore, but it's up there.
No, because it's Ospreay Omega, obviously.
Great match.
But that is a good one.
All right, so we left off at We'll start at 19 next week.
Nice.
All right. Great job. You crushed it. We'll switch back to talking about wrestling. It's anything notable that we saw this week outside of AEW. We call it Highspots and Restholds. Starting out with, I guess it would be Raw first, right? We don't have anything else to discuss
That is
before,
how the
since we don't have any C2 catch-up anymore.
That's true.
That's crazy.
Shame.
So, Raw. New Day start the show. They are still being relentlessly booed by everybody. And then, so they come out starting to say whatever. They're getting interrupted by the boos. Jey Uso makes his full entrance through the crowd. New Day try to speak. Booing's too much. Uso just basically says New Day sucks. Woods kind of gets in Jay's face. Kofi kind of holds Woods back to avoid the confrontation. New Day end up leaving. Wasn't really much, and actually it was more so segments bleeding together because Uso stays in the ring to cut a promo after New Day leaves. And I guess because they were saving Punk and Rollins for the end of the show, this is what they decided to put in the opening segment instead. Pretty significant
Main event segment.
What's that?
Main event segment.
Yes.
Wow.
So there's been some banger opening talking segments. This was not one, but it gets New Day out there, and they're just getting booed and they can't even talk anyways. So Jay does continue to speak. He says that Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline will be handled by the OTC Roman Reigns. Jay then calls out Drew McIntyre so he can give him a yeet down. Oh, cut to me cringing. Solo Sikoa interrupts with a promo, like a video thing on the screen with Tama Tonga and Fatu behind him.
Camacho's injured, so
he says they already took out Zayn. The Usos made a big mistake siding with Roman. Solo will win Tribal Warfare and keep the necklace, whatever it's called. I can never remember. What is it?
The Ulafala.
There you go.
Or you mean the forthcoming Tribal Chief Championship?
Correct. Yes, that's the one. So I'm sorry, man. I think Solo Sikoa is terrible in this role. And
I don't think it's to the point where he's like ironically bad or like where he's supposed to be a pretender. I think he's just not worthy.
He is such a budget version of Roman Reigns, and to me, he's flanked by two guys with more charisma than him. Like even Tama Tonga is somewhat interesting charisma-wise.
He's weird, yeah.
And Fatu's amazing.
Fatu, like, if they let him be more than just the Savage, he could be like the roles could be easily reversed.
That's
and
the
so
problem.
Much
is I look at those guys and I go, why are you following this guy? Like, why are you letting him be I don't know, man.
It should be Fatu.
And I guess I don't understand your family and the bloodline and blah, 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 but I'm not buying it, man. I'm surprised that it's lasted so long with Sikoa. But anyways, Drew then attacks.
It's only been since, I guess, April.
Drew attacks Jey Uso from behind, lays down a beating, gets pulled apart, heads down the ramp. It's funny, like he probably goes like 2/3, 3/4 the way up the ramp, so security leave him alone, and then he just turns around and sprints back to the ring and hits a Claymore, which I thought was pretty cool. And man, I hope that Drew beats Jey clean. I'm done with all this bloodline stuff at this point. And so we find out, I think later, that it is Drew and Jey on Netflix Raw next week. So they're really stacking this 3-hour monstrosity. But anyways, in the feud that I thought was already over but wasn't, Gable beat Otis with an ankle lock in a decent singles match, about as good as you're gonna get out of Otis probably.
He is a unit.
He is huge, and that was one of the impressive things. Gable basically deadlift Germaned him.
That's crazy.
Which was pretty cool.
Gable's crazy.
Both of these groups desperately need something new to do, right?
Well,
I think
Gable's going to SmackDown. They're all going to SmackDown.
Right. So Creeds did get involved in the match. Obviously, Tozawa tried to stop it, but he got taken out. And yeah, that was about all the notable bits from there. Rhea and Liv basically go back and forth and summarize their feud and talk smack to each other or about each other. And it's the same old thing with these two at this point. Their match is also next week on Raw and needs to be the end of this feud. I think it will be. I think it has to be.
Yeah.
Who wins?
Ripley or Morgan?
If you had to pick.
I feel like you go with Ripley.
So do I.
Because for me, the thing that made Liv Morgan interesting isn't interesting anymore.
Peak Liv's gone.
she can't wrestle really.
And Rhea is just more consistently over
More
and
complete.
has better matches. Yeah, more complete.
And she never lost the belt either. Like,
right.
Morgan's also never legitimately beat her. Like, Dom helped her the first time, and then we forget the Bad Blood match ended in DQ.
Mm-hmm.
So really, Morgan has no claim to this being over.
No.
So I feel like it has to be her. You could have a title change on
and
your
then
first.
end it, right?
I would hope so. You have your title match on your big premiere. Ripley can hold it till Mania and drop it to whoever. Because Ripley doesn't need to hold it for crazy long. Because her first run before she got injured was a year plus, right?
Right.
So I think she could win it back here, hold it till Mania, drop it to Stratton.
Maybe. Yeah, could be.
Cash in on her.
True.
She'll probably cash in on Nia though.
Yeah.
So Ripley can
Seems
drop
like
it to,
that's the story.
right. Ripley can drop it to someone. I don't
Someone.
know, like Naomi.
Finn is still being a sarcastic prick. He talks to Raquel Rodriguez here. Basically, he's like, very sarcastically, like, let live. He wishes her luck for her match with Ripley. It doesn't do anything other than remind us that the status of this group, it's just getting harder and harder to care about them as the weeks pass.
Hopefully they split,
nothing changes.
and then the rumored push for Balor does go through, because I'd love to see him do things
I know.
year, or this year.
It's like Priest and Balor are stuck on a treadmill, and Morgan and Ripley are stuck on a treadmill.
Balor needs to move up,
And
because he deserves to be main event.
I agree.
I just realized, though, why are you talking about, like, year-old wrestling right now?
Yeah, you'd think. It's the same stuff.
No, I mean, this is all the way from last year.
It is from last year. It is there. Ice cold. I thought you just meant because the feuds have been that long.
I mean, could be.
Yeah. I told you this and you loved it. Pete Dunne attacked R-Truth. I think they were trying to say R-Truth was heading out for a match. Dunne attacked him before he could get to the ring, and he could be heard saying, "I'm nobody's butch." And Jack.
So stupid.
All he has. His entire identity is the guy who hates being called butch.
And so I was just watching, obviously, 2021 NXT, and it's just like Dunne's in a main event title match, and he's cool. He's a badass. He's legit. Nothing of that is here.
Nope. I thought I had his shirt on, but I have Andrade, who we just talked about.
That's true. It's absolutely ridiculous to me how Triple H, of all people, can get Pete Dunne so wrong.
I know.
Like, I don't understand having to have comedy on your show, and I'm not disagreeing that it's doesn't have its place.
He's not that guy.
And I'm not exactly. I'm not disagreeing that R-Truth doesn't even have his place. He's not always for me, but he's funny sometimes.
Right.
Pete Dunne's not that guy.
No.
Pete Dunne's not supposed to be that guy.
Pete Dunne's supposed to be an AEW crushing people.
Pete Dunne's supposed to be anywhere crushing people. Throw him down to NXT. Like, the best stuff he did last year was in NXT, I would argue, with Trick Williams, and that's crazy to me.
Balor and Dunne were peak in NXT.
Balor and Dunne had a great match together that I remember watching back last year.
Heel Balor was so cool in NXT.
Heel Balor's cool. Dunne was
cool.
He
found himself there, I would argue.
I agree. I think that's the best work of his career. And I'm not in denial. I'm not saying Pete Dunne needs to go to the main event and beat Gunther. Should he wrestle Gunther for the belt? Yeah, that'd be awesome. But I'm not expecting him to ever touch a world title ever.
Just make him a badass.
Make him a badass, and he could be one of the best Intercontinental champions you've ever seen.
Right.
Like, not saying he should be Breaker. I feel like he's not, like, because Breaker's, I mean, if Breaker's babyface, you could do it.
Yeah.
But I'm not even saying he has to be Breaker. I would just say this year, build him up to that title, make him legit. Like, Dunne is not a joke. He should not be a joke. He should be feared. He should be breaking Truth's fingers off.
And then make it that he's a lone wolf and he loses because he has no affiliations with anyone in numbers game, whatever you want to do.
Right.
But make him a badass.
But, like, he was the self-proclaimed baddest man in NXT. Now he's, like, the biggest joke. He's, like, him getting all worked up about the Butch thing is like Brian Keith getting worked up about people respecting Jericho. Mm-hmm. That's a horrible comparison for me, but it's not completely off base. And it's just...
And Pete Dunne should just be like, "You're R-Truth. I don't care what you think of me or call me."
Literally, he does that thing where he shrugs smugly, and I think it's so cool. He shouldn't care.
He shouldn't care.
He should say...
But he cares so much.
Yeah, he should care with Sheamus, because Sheamus, it's his fault he was Butch. That's fine for that feud. And I think it was cool when he was denouncing Butch, and he's like, "I'm not Butch. That was your fault, and I'm going to kick your ass."
But
now it's just like...
You said Jay Briscoe, so now I must fight you.
Right. Like, it's so... it's so dumb. Like, he shouldn't care about it. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And I was saying to you, now that he's returned to his name, it's not even like I can say, "Oh, he's Butch. It's stupid. This isn't Pete Dunne. It's Butch." They're just ruining Pete Dunne now.
Yeah.
Like, they're not even using Butch. It's just now Pete Dunne has become almost equivalent to Butch, and that's not equivalent in character, but at least in standing. Like, he should be at a higher ceiling than Butch. And it's
Best of award winner.
Right,
Pete
like
Dunne.
it's so stupid to me. So it pisses me off. Like you should not no respect disrespect the truth, but they shouldn't be in the same orbit.
Dakota Kai beat Zoe Stark in about 8 minutes to advance to the finals for the Intercontinental
I
Championship.
saw someone saying, and I agree, her chiropractor move was so sick. Like the
It's better
front
than
flip
her
back,
finisher.
right? The go to kick. That's what someone was saying, and I don't remember who. I
It
give
looked
them credit.
cool in this.
Chiropractor's a really cool move.
I thought this was pretty good and nice to see Dakota Kai pick up some wins. The finish was Zoe came off the top into a super kick, and then Kai hit the go to kick, which didn't look great. It looked more like it hit the midsection.
I'd like
The
to see
replay
Kai
was a
win
different angle,
the
looked
title
better.
because I like her a lot.
I'm wondering.
I don't think she will. It'll probably be Lyra.
Either way, they're elevating somebody, which
Yeah.
is cool.
I hope it's her, but it probably won't be.
I'm not sure. War Raiders, Damian Priest obviously are going to defeat Judgment Day.
Because Judgment Day are allergic to beating Damian Priest.
And they had...
Their kryptonite is Damian Priest.
McDonough was in it. Carlito wasn't, so...
Well, so did McDonough... Oh, no, Dom took the pin, right?
Yes, he
At
did.
least it wasn't McDonough.
Because it was Dom, Balor, and JD. I thought Eric looked really good in this early on.
Sorry, go.
Ivar took out JD on the floor, and then Priest hit a South of Heaven for the win. I don't have a lot.
McDonough's another dude that they could treat a lot more legitimately.
They could.
Again,
there you go. A faction of guys who are tired with their treatment and make JD and Dunn together.
I mean, I know they don't care about the division, but Pete Dunne and JD McDonough as a tag team would be sick.
Yes, it would.
Like, because Dunn's so good at, like, manipulating joints and, like, beating people up, and McDonough had the thing in NXT where he was, like, enjoying taking punishment. They're both, like, sadistic in their own ways. Like, they could be so cool
Remember,
together.
I loved McDonough was almost doing, like, not quite a serial killer, like Dexter thing in NXT UK that I really liked it.
Yeah,
and he was cutting promos on how he's gonna specifically dissect
was, I think, when he came to Maine, right?
That was
NXT,
cool.
yeah. But, like, that's what I'm saying. He has potential, too. Again, not the highest ceiling. Like, Balor should go up to main event. JD McDonough could also be Intercontinental. Like, there's things you could do with these people.
Dream on, sir.
Yep.
Solid trios match, expected outcome. Judgment Day are not being used to pick up wins these days, so you knew it was going to happen. And speaking of knew it was going to happen, the heels attack Damian Priest after the match. That's
the only time they get to look good is when they jump him.
The War Raiders make the save, and Balor says it's not over. And my God, the Balor Priest program is continuing.
So stale.
I feel like we've seen every possible combination of them in a singles or tag or like everything over the past few months, but it's still going to go on. So Judgment Day were cool for a while. Like I was even into it when I started watching Raw again, but now I say they're like in the Jericho spot of having feuds that just won't die.
Well, I think that's just part of the WWE creatives because Triple H loves doing the genius long-term storytelling, and it works sometimes with like the bloodline.
It's really hurting Balor at this point.
It's definitely hurting Balor because he's taking loss after loss, and especially I think he shouldn't have lost that Bad Blood. That one irked me for sure.
Yeah,
and like it's just they don't die, and they're just not allergic, sorry, but like they're so prone to they just have to jump the shark.
Yeah,
you can't quit while you're ahead because that could be potential story you're missing on or potential money, so you have to jump the shark, and then now it's just like people don't care anymore.
Not at all. We get the clearest sign yet that Penta will be debuting.
I told you like I'll check out the premiere just because it's gonna be interesting, but
I hope they use
forward
him
to seeing Penta
effectively.
I'm curious to see what he'll be called too.
My fear is that they know he's gonna be cheered like crazy, so they're not gonna go heel with him. If they just bring him in as Pentagon Dark and have him just murder people and not say anything really, like that would be amazing.
No, I would love that too, but honestly, as long as he's treated well, I'm gonna be happy.
And I'm fine with them doing the whole. We're not saying he's coming, but he's definitely coming.
We were saying that. That's smart.
If he's a draw, you need to use that. But and they're obviously to a smaller degree, but they're doing the Punk thing of like know Rampage, for sure, but we're not going to tell you it is.
I think it's smart, yeah, and I hope he does well. I feel like he could do well because they have to see the merchandising potential in him. I think that could really help him out.
And that might be why he's a face too, though.
And that's okay. Again, as long as he does well, that's all I want to see. Mm-hmm. And I would like him to go heel at some point, but
and then his brother can come and they can be a abandoned tag team like everyone else.
Yeah, they can just forget about going on PLEs.
That's right.
He'll get some PLE matches until Phoenix comes in. They get the tag titles and they just never see the
feud with LWO forever.
They join the LWO.
Maybe. Kaiser's in the ring cutting a really short promo just about how great he is and people should be thankful or whatever. But he's cut short by Sheamus returning in his street clothes. He attacks Kaiser. Brogue kick sends Kaiser out of the ring to sort of end the attack. And I'm okay with running this back because my plan, and I think their plan too, is these guys have history. Sheamus has been gone for a while, selling, I think, like a rib injury or whatever. And
Was he been gone since the triple threat at
I think so.
Survivor Series?
I think you have to have Kaiser win as starting to elevate
He
him.
needs to start winning.
This
for
is
sure.
a good quality win over a veteran.
Yeah, and it's kind of like Fletcher for me, where you're at the point where he seems poised to start going up,
Yes.
so you need to start building wins. And it's not like, oh, he's good, but you can take losses. You need to start kind of building on something.
And I think Sheamus is a perfect guy to do that with.
Yeah, because he doesn't need the wins right now
He does
until
not.
I could see him beating Breaker at some point just to give him, because like the story has to be to get the Grand Slam, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I could see that being at Mania
I
this
think
year,
so.
which would be good for him.
Yeah, it would. Looks like New Day will be facing the LWO guys. They were backstage again. With
LWO is another faction that's just like taking up
Directionless.
space and directionless. It's like they just don't know what to do with all the Latinos, so they group them together and put them in matches sometimes.
And the new heels need somebody to beat for their first little thing, so we get mid-card baby faces.
And I would be willing to bet that Ray isn't in the match.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
New Day did mock everyone in Ray's group, calling them like, I think it was like other mask guy, hat guy, no hat guy, and then something about Zelina wearing like giant heels to be a little taller or something anyways.
She is shorter than me.
And they accept the challenge, so they will face off. Lyra did defeat Io Sky in the second semifinal of the night to advance to the finals for the
There's only 2
Intercontinental.
semifinals? That's crazy.
That's crazy. Lyra countered an Io pinning attempt with her own sort of bridging version for the win. Dakota Kai was watching from a box up top and rooting for Io along the way. I thought this was a good match, better than not that the first one on the show was bad, but I thought this one was better. These two women are just more talented, I think. And again, they're elevating somebody new. I'm not sure who wins. You think it's Lyra?
I think so. Just seems to make more sense to me. I hope it's Dakota, and I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it could go either way.
I was also hoping for the Damage Control final because I think it would have been interesting to tell a story there. But
yeah,
then that also makes me think it'd be Lyra, because if it's Dakota, why wouldn't you just do
right
a Damage Control match? You know what I mean?
Yes, you could have done that. I thought that might have been where they were going, but they did not. So the main event was Rollins Punk in the ring to talk, and I made the most notes for sure on this because it was the best thing on the show, probably. They both said some pretty good stuff. So Rollins there first, all decked out as he tends to be in crazy sunglasses as well. He says that 1 week from tonight is a fight 10 years in the making. Punk is the self-proclaimed best in the world, while Rollins was the real best in the world. After next week, you know where you can find him because he'll be here every week fighting in this ring because that's what he does. If things don't go CM Punk's way, he'll cry about it, whine about it, take another 10 years off, pick up his ball and go home. Punk comes out to the ring now to reply. Says that the line about taking your ball and to go home is an industry plant, a cliche bootlicker line. Did Steve Austin take his ball and go home? And Rollins is like nodding, basically.
Yes.
Like, yeah, it's exactly what he
Multiple times.
And then I did like this. Punk is like, I haven't seen the man around here lately. Did she take her ball and go home?
That's fair.
But Rollins has a decent comeback.
I'd also like to say with Punk's ego, though, that immediately compares him like the biggest, arguably the biggest star WWE's ever had.
Yeah.
Like, that feels a little indulgent to me.
I agree. He says he was sick and tired, so he left. He had no regrets. He doesn't want to talk about the last 10 years, so let's talk about the last 10 months. Punk asked Rollins how's his neck, his knee, and his inside since Bronson Reed splashed him with 6 tsunamis. Rollins barely got revenge while Punk broke Reed's leg in War Games. And Rollins is behind him, like miming, like he jumped off the ropes and hurt him. Like you kind of,
yeah,
you know,
that's what
like,
I'm saying.
That's basically what he was doing. Punk says next week he gets to make money making Rollins the victim he wants to be. And refers Seth as a little brother. That's what we call projection.
That is 100% projection.
Right. Rollins comes back, says his wife Becky is home taking care of their kid, and Punk has no idea what that's like.
Ooh, right? Got him. All right.
Punk wanted this place to die with the echoes of CM Punk chants. Punk went on a podcast to try and tear this place down. Punk took a chunk of change to join the competition, and how did that work out? Punk wants to be here to raise the flag with them, but no way. You can't big brother Rollins because Rollins is the big brother now. Punk will take 10 years off, and Rollins will be the reason. Thought that was pretty good stuff.
Nice.
Punk says that you can recognize the Pioneers because of the arrows in their backs. Rollins wouldn't be here if it weren't for Punk. Punk loved this was a good line. Punk loved the place he worked, but he hated the guy in charge,
That's fair.
and that guy loved Rollins.
That is, I mean, did he love Rollins?
I mean, it's for the storyline
I
purposes.
guess it works, yeah.
Right?
That would be a great line against Roman.
I stand up to the man, and you're the corporate shill. In fact, he says
Rollins is like that, though. That's fair.
Rollins is dressed like an idiot while playing a victim in a situation that he created. Punk will take those arrows that he's carried for 10 years and jam them down Rollins' corporate throat. Rollins says that maybe once upon a time, Punk may have been a pioneer, but what he has become is a cancer. He's a cancer to the locker room, in Seth's brain, and a cancer to the business. The only way to defeat it is to cut it out. Punk should bring his fistful of arrows, and Rollins will bring his eyes of fire and heart full of hate and rage, and he will burn Punk to the ground.
Burn him down, maybe?
I liked it. Rollins got the last word. His music plays, and they just sort of stare down as Raw goes off the air. So I thought this was another awesome interaction with these two. Obviously, I side with Rollins on pretty much all of this, but Punk has some great lines.
He had a couple of good ones.
Some great points from his perspective, right?
Yeah.
So a really believable back and forth between two guys who don't like each other and are about to have a fight. So this is like keeping it super simple. Somebody wrote great dialogue, and they both delivered. So I thought it was a great segment. Shifting gears to NXT, which you saw, I think, a bunch in the middle, if I'm not mistaken. But you'll remember.
I think I did see some bits.
The opener was Kalani Jordan taking on Lola Vice. And right away, Booker is so obnoxious, just making noises at certain points in this match with nothing really important to say. Vice with kicks and a hip attack to take control. Lola's dancing allows Jordan to counter a suplex into a reverse DDT. So here it is, a reverse DDT leg drop. So you know what I mean? She goes for a reverse DDT, but puts her leg on top of them too and drops down.
Like
hard to imagine.
Like you're going like this,
and you put yes, correct.
Okay, yeah.
Cora Jade shows up on the apron.
Big Show used to do that
with her kendo stick. Lonnie with a standing switch to Lola shoves Lola into Jade, knocking Jade off the apron. Lonnie rolls Lola up with a bridging pinfall for the win. A little surprise there. I kind of thought the match was just getting rolling when Jade came out, and then it went straight to the finish. And a Kalani Cora Jade program could produce some disastrous results.
Oh, yeah.
I was a bit surprised
I'd like to see that.
to see Vice take a pretty clean loss here. Went about 10 minutes, kind of average. After the match, Cora Jade attacks Jordan and Vice with the kendo stick until Stephanie Vaquer runs down to make the save. She disarms Jade, takes the kendo stick away. Vice recovers, goes to hit Jade with the back fist, but Jade ducks and Vice hits Vaquer by accident as Jade slinks away. Looks like, what do you think? A four-way coming out of this? Maybe. Feels like the formula. NXT awards are sprinkled throughout this match of the year. I don't disagree, I think. Oba Femi, Josh Briggs, Dijak at Stand and Deliver. And I told you it was kind of cool. Briggs had a little video from his house just shot on his phone thanking, and he said he wanted to thank everyone that feasted their eyes on that match. So I think that's him giving Dijak some credit, because Dijak's the veteran. Briggs isn't new either, really.
No, but Dijak's the best one there.
Right. Then we get the spotlight. This week it's Julia. You were here for that, I'm almost positive. She was speaking Japanese.
I don't think I paid attention much.
Perez's time is up. It's time for Julia to live up to the expectations that the fans have for her and she has for herself. She loves wrestling. This is her calling. Wrestling in Japan has prepared her for this. She will let her warrior spirit loose. And next week we start the year with a new champion. So I thought this was good. These little spotlight things have been good. There's pared down versions of, what were the things we used?
Target.
Right, Prime Targets.
That's what I thought you were talking about, yeah.
Some of those were awesome.
Those are good.
NXT Moment of the Year. The nominees were Mello heel turn, Wesley heel turn, Jada Parker brick shot.
I do think the Wesley heel turn was pretty sick.
The way Ethan Page won the title by falling onto people.
That was also pretty good.
Joe Hendry, somehow the ladies of the Chase U calendar.
That was a nod. That's how I'm like, they try to include their own choices, but then it's like the fans are voting, so.
Trick wins first NXT championship. Julia debuts, and a bunch more nominees that I was like, how many can they have? Who cares? The winner, surprisingly, is Joe Hendry, right?
I'm surprised
makes me
they
think
allowed
they
it,
went
but
with the votes.
They did, because I saw there were polls.
Because I can't imagine they wanted somebody not in their company to, unless it doesn't matter because they know he's as good as signed, right? So they might not care that much. My next thing says Cedric is not good in an interview. You saw this. He updates us on Javon Evans.
It was funny because she says the interviewer is it Schreiber, Sarah Schreiber?
I think so. I don't know.
Anyways, she's like,
I forget.
Can you give us an update on Javon? How's he doing? I've been wrestling for 15 years.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
But then he circled back around.
He did. I just thought it was funny that like
it was weird.
Instead of saving that for after and like first starting with something that in a vacuum, it sounds completely unrelated.
It did. So he updates us on Javon's broken jaw or whatever he's selling here. He's interrupted by Ethan Page, who says he'll put Cedric right next to Javon. Cedric attacks him right away. They brawl all the way to the ring because their match is starting. Cedric starts out in control. Page takes over. Cedric hits a Michinoku driver. Page hits a huge boot and a twist of fate for the win. Interesting.
I know he's been doing that a bit lately because he did team with Hardys for a bit. I remember complaining about it. But I think it's weird that he won with it.
Me too. And then he slams Cedric's hand in a toolbox.
And Cedric wore his knee pads too low.
He did. Short match, solid enough while it lasted. Page had to win, obviously. It didn't need to be super competitive because Cedric is basically an enhancement talent now. And Page is clearly on a collision course with Evans once he returns. And I think Evans will get a nice reaction, right? Having him out.
I think it could be a solid match.
Yeah, me too. Sean Spears is trying to recruit Igwe and DuPont backstage, but Wesley steps in and says that the team have found their voice and don't need Spears to speak for them. Spears leaves. Hank and Tank have been there the whole time, and they ask Igwe and DuPont if they're going to listen to Wesley, and they seem to kind of indicate, yeah, they are. And so now Hank and Tank need a new partner for later. Was it supposed to be Spears? Is that why? Like I don't think so. I don't know where that came from.
I don't think so.
But anyways, they need a new partner. And I said it last week. I would be fine with Wesley as a mentor for Igwe and DuPont.
And then he gets a couple like big heaters.
Right. And I think that's where we're going. So
that makes sense.
Both Lee and
they're also all
black.
Yep.
And both Lee and the tag team could use to switch things up, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So later Hank and Tank
is Wesley their mouthpiece?
It's not the best. He's not terrible. Hank and Tank ask Andre Chase to be their partner. He doesn't answer, so we're left wondering if he will in fact
now
show
he
up.
wrestles in like it's funny. So he can't wear the Chase U sweater anymore. So now he basically wrestles in Hank Walker's old attire.
Yeah, that's right. So next we get Shotzi and Gigi Dolan with Paxley there versus the Meta 2 versus Caden Carter and Katana Chance. And Vic Joseph tells us a lot of them have issues that run really deep.
I just told you they went up and down the road together.
That is the backdrop we get for this. They have issues. I'm not going to specify, but they run really deep.
Although some
can't
of them,
name any.
A funny thing I just thought of was like if some of the people in not even NIL but training at the PC are like, then let's say two of them who came up at the same time in NIL, for example, they have a feud later on. They're like, we traveled up and down the road together, but it's like they've only ever wrestled at the
in
PC,
one place.
so they haven't even like traveled on the road
together to the same place.
We worked out together for years.
This provided the highlight of the week for you, right? They're working a pretty good pace, some fun action until Shotzi decides to do a dive through the ropes and almost dies. Needed to be checked on quickly, but
I'm not a nostalgia guy, but that brought me back to 2021.
She needs to stop doing things.
Again, another person that people think is good who sucks.
So her spirit is willing and her body is not. Right?
She's like if Darby Allin couldn't do stuff.
She's like fearless but not coordinated or good at wrestling.
Yeah, so again, I don't know how people find her enjoyable. I think I'll never forget that first video when we saw her, and it was just unbearable. The howling and the welcome to the ball pit.
Welcome to the ball pit.
I was saying to you, they should be called the doll pit.
Oof. Yeah, you would love that.
Welcome to the doll pit.
Fatal Influence interfere. Dolan takes a lash pump kick and the Meta 2 finisher, and it's over in 11 minutes. Pretty decent multi-team tag
Most logical outcome, I guess.
Yes, and marred by a Shotzi botch, but that's pretty normal anytime she's in a match.
Botchy?
Nope,
never mind.
Botchy?
It's not as good as the doll pit.
The witches show up on the screen after the match. They have issues that run deep too, I imagine. So they'll have a match against the Meta 2 for #1 contender for the women's tag stuff. So sure. Lola Vice tries to apologize to Stephanie Vaquer backstage for backfisting her by accident. Kalani shows up and she's kind of funny because she's like something about like, you were telling me to calm down last week and now look at you two, right? Which was fair. Kind of trying to drive a wedge, I think. Ava approaches. Hooray. says she needs a new challenger for Perez, so she makes a fatal 4-way. Jade versus Vice versus Jordan versus Vicaire. So I was right. And Jade is a little nervous about facing those strong talents. So Jade, Cora Jade, Lola Vice, Kalani Jordan, Vicaire. Vicaire time?
Like how soon do you think Henley should lose her belt? Because she just won it at what was it? No Mercy.
Well,
right?
this is for Perez's belt.
No, I thought it was a shot at Henley. No, was it not?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because this match is. Or I think so.
I wrote down Perez, but you could be right.
I'm almost positive.
I might have forgotten there was a second belt. To be fair,
because I'm pretty sure
that would make more sense.
Remember, because doesn't Jade want
Julia's already talking about Perez,
right? And Jade is kind of affiliated with Perez, so
right?
I don't know.
So not Vaquer.
So obviously
maybe.
Jade doesn't win. I could see Vaquer getting it though.
She could, yeah.
I'd be Julia wins the main title, she's not getting that anytime.
Just want Vaquer to go heel too.
That too.
But anyways, now Ava says the cup changing hands.
It's a gray area.
Heritage Cup
is a gray
area. So she makes a rematch for next week, but only one fall. So again, just like not honoring the rules.
I get the intention of a sudden death, but usually they do that after 9
Then it's not a Heritage Cup match, because that is not the rules.
I get why it's a sudden death, but
and if you can mess with the rules, because we looked it up and it said that a DQ was an automatic loss.
Yeah.
So she ends up giving the cup back to Dempsey here. Which I get why they're doing it, because it does further the story of King, but I did everything right and I still get screwed.
I agree.
So I like
they could have done that.
But I feel like they're really bending themselves into a pretzel here to get there.
Yeah, and the sudden death part is weird, and I kind of get it, because I guess the over-convoluted rules of the Heritage Cup, you're avoiding it with the sudden death match, but
then it's not a Heritage Cup match, because it's literally Heritage Cup rules.
Yeah,
that's the point.
It's just weird.
Anyways, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. NXT Tag Team of the Year. If it wasn't for Axiom, I would have burned the place to the ground, but it obviously was. The other nominees were Meta2 and Hank and Tank.
Wasn't there another one too?
Maybe.
I think it was them. Oh, it was Chase U.
Oh, that makes sense.
I thought Meta2 was actually the Meta2 and Hank and Tank were quite a stretch.
Yes. OTM come up, say that they are coming for everything Fraxium earned. That's fine. They're going to lose, but it's fine. Sol Ruka and Izzy Dame had a match, and Spears is watching from a balcony somewhere. This bugged me because, Zarya comes down to support Sol Ruka. Commentary tell us that Zarya and Ruka are trying to get on the same page. So guess where this goes, right? X Factor, Dame rolls to the floor. Ruka moonsault to the floor, but Dame pulls Zarya in the way and puts Ruka back in the ring. Dame hits her sky high for the win after 5 minutes. So the match was nothing really, a 5-minute match. It's fine. Dame gets a win, fine. More about the story than the match here. And so Zarya and Ruka keep miscommunicating, but I don't really care because
they're not a team.
They haven't been presented in a way that I would care.
When they're not friends, really.
So my hope is that this has to lead to Zarya turning heel and just being a monster now.
Yeah.
So I think she had to be a babyface when she debuted because people were going to cheer for her. But now she needs to be a monster heel.
That makes sense. And they could use that. That'd be different for
Absolutely
them.
Could use that. NXT Female Star of the Year, again, had to be Roxanne Perez. It was not Kalani Jordan or Lola Vice or Jada Parker yet, I said, because I love Jada Parker. And she said the thing. She literally said no one is on her level, right? So she basically
take a drink.
She recapped her 2024 and took some shots at Julia along the way. So Wesley, Igwe, and DuPont, I forget their first names, Tyson
DuPont, Tyreek, Igwe.
There you go. Take on Hank, Tank, and Andre Chase does show up to be their third. Jack enjoys West Side. I don't know.
He said something about DuPont, Igwe going over to the West Side, and I just thought that was a funny. Because I know West Side is a thing, so I thought that was a funny take on that. It just made me chuckle.
Lee, Igwe, and DuPont attack before the bell to establish this team clearly as heels. It's a back-and-forth match. Chase hits a somersault dive out to the floor. And Chase, when he comes out, is looking kind of disheveled and low energy, right? Nice DuPont pop-up power slam to Hank, who's isolated by the heels for a bit. Tank gets a hot tag. He's on fire. Looks pretty good. The crowd responds well to it. Dude's got a lot of. He's like got that.
He's got
big
the
guy
Otis
with
energy.
a ton of energy. Yeah,
He reminds me a lot of Otis, and they're kind of heavy machinery-esque, which
they are.
isn't a bad thing.
They connect with the
they
crowd.
had their place in NXT.
They sure did.
Could have stuck around longer.
People love them down there.
Yeah, even on main roster, I thought they had decent popularity.
Chase is in control. Hank wants a tag. Chase seemed a bit weird. Suddenly he just gets sad, tags Hank in, and then walks away. I'm not sure. I don't know what triggered him to be so sad, like asking to be tagged out. I don't know. Anyways, Tyreek.
Wait, you don't want me to wrestle anymore? Okay, fine.
So sad. Tyreek with a stunner to Hank, and Tank is taken out on the floor, and the heels win after 12 minutes. Pretty solid 6-man tag, helping establish, I think, what's a new heel group that I'm okay with, and then furthers the story of Chase being distraught by the loss of his school, and we meet a new student perhaps a bit later. Ashanti Theodonis, you need your high school romance update here. He leaves a message for Carmen Petrovich since she didn't answer because that age group used the phone as phones. Isn't that a flaw? Do people pick up the phone and call people and leave voicemail?
Not
people don't do that.
Call, yeah. Voicemail,
no one uses a phone as a phone in 2024.
No one uses a voicemail, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So anyways, he basically tells her he wants to spend New Year's with her or spend it alone. Nikita Lyons walks in and invites Adonis to a New Year's Eve party, and he immediately goes, no, just kidding. He basically declines her offer. So he's now like all sensitive and sad. So it's tough. So then Spears approaches Izzy Dame again. She wants nothing to do with Spears. Tony D comes in to stick up for Izzy Dame for some reason. And then Spears says he enjoyed Santa Claus beating up Tony last week. And I'm like, what? And then I'm like, oh yeah, it was Ridge Holland. And then after Spears left, Tony says he'll take care of Ridge Holland. Andre Chase is approached backstage by a guy named Cale Dixon. Who asked,
I know him.
You do?
Yeah, he's from Level Up.
Oh, wow. Asks when next semester gets started. And Chase is like, Chase U is dead. So I don't know, is this a one-off or are we going to use this guy?
So they're finally using him. I see.
And is this the guy that called out to Chase while he was packing up his stuff and walking down the hall?
He has weird facial hair. And I think I also saw him wearing the half tights on Level Up recently.
You got to start out with those.
So
you got to earn full tights. Okay, rookie. Last thing was Trick was named the male star of the year. Actually, I don't even know if he technically was because Oba came out. He was the other nominee along with Ethan Page and Tony D. So Oba interrupts the presentation of the award, says it doesn't matter who wins. He is the one in control of NXT. He's the captain now. We can witness him becoming champion at NXT New Year's Evil. Trick comes out. Trick thinks Oba is beatable since he lost to Tony D to lose the North American title. Fair point. He wonders how long Femi will take off after Trick beats him because Femi was gone for a bit after losing to Tony.
That's true.
Thorpe doesn't speak. He just attacks Oba from behind. The impact of that sends Trick to the floor, and then Thorpe just smashes the trophy or award or whatever over Femi's head and holds it high to end the show. So I don't know. I've been enjoying Thorpe's presentation a little bit. So I don't.
He's definitely been a little better from what I've seen.
Do we still think it's time for Oba to pin Thorpe here? Probably. Are we protecting Trick?
I mean, I'm sure they will. I don't think you need to because he sucks, but I'm sure they will.
And then maybe Trick's a call up for Raw on Netflix sort of thing.
Yeah,
makes sense. They're gonna want. Apparently, they're gonna start pulling people up.
You won't have to deal with them. So
that's true. I'm okay with that. And then obviously SmackDown has not happened because we're recording this on a Thursday.
That's true. Factual statement.
I think that is everything.
Si, senor.
This is a long episode. We're approaching 3 hours. My God.
Jeez.
So let's wrap this up. We will definitely reconvene down in this same space next weekend for episode 234. We hope you can find the time to join us.
Worst of is forthcoming.
Worst of should be coming down at some point. Check out Best of if you haven't. Thanks for taking any time out of your week to listen to us talk about wrestling. Really appreciate it. See you back here next week for the same thing. And until then, everybody, take care.